WOKLZ podcast, back for another one, ready for London Derby. Oh, do you know what? I've got to be honest though, I'm like trying to G myself up this. This might be like the least kind of enthused I've been about the North London Derby in a while. I think the international break has just ruined it, to be quite honest. How are you feeling about it? Come on, please tell me you're G'd up.
I mean, I actually think I do care about this one quite a lot. I don't usually really care. Like I do, but I don't like. I've said this before that I'm not. For me growing up, like Tottenham have never been considerably on our level, barring a couple of years when we were both pretty bad, fifth and fourth best in the league.
Yeah,
So I've like as much as there is that sort of sense of that I want to beat Tottenham more than anyone. I'm kind of just like really intrigued to see like. I want players to score. Like I want Eze to get a goal. I think I want to see like Trossard score and stuff like. I want to see some players that maybe haven't got that North London Derby goal yet to get one that I think is cool with. But broadly,
yeah.
like, yeah, I mean, I've watched a lot of Tottenham this season. They are not a fun team to watch. So I don't think it's going to be particularly an amazing game. I don't think, it's always going to be aggressive and fighty and everyone's just going to kick at each other. It's just how it is. So I'm a little excited, I'd say more than usual, just because I think there's a lot of question marks about like both teams in terms of lineup, players fit,
Yeah.
teams they have. But yeah, usually I'm not like the biggest guy about Tottenham because to me they are a level below the Liverpool cities that I care about. And even United, like I care more about beating United because I just think like I grew up and they were winning everything. So I'm like, wow, that's just funny to see them lose.
Yeah, I completely agree with you on that side because for me, it was the 90s derby, like a derby rivalry, whatever you want to call it, in terms of like United, Arsenal, Pizzagate, Keown, the hacking, the kicking of Reyes from Gary Neville, the Rooney dive. Like there's so many things. Like the Will Tour at Old Trafford. There's so much stuff. Like that's for me, that's always been the game that I've wanted to see. The Tottenham one, maybe like more recently, has been the one that's kind of got to me a bit more. But yeah, I don't know. Like you hit the nail on the head when you said about the type of football that's going to be played. Like I think it's going to be a real stop game, and it'd be like it'd be an interesting one. Hopefully I'm wrong though, because like I don't know. No, do you ever watch any like MMA, boxing, or anything like that?
If I have to.
I'm going with this anyway. I'm on that track. I'm going down it. Sometimes when you have like two fighters that are, I don't know, more like counter fighters or two fighters that kind of stall a lot, what will happen is sometimes you'll get an absolute barnstormer. And then sometimes you get two fighters who like really go at it, throwing haymakers, really exciting fights. They end up fighting each other and then it's a really boring like fight. I'm hoping it's like similar to that, where we've got two teams that are quite pragmatic in certain ways, have their, set the stall up, make sure they do all the fundamentals right. But in this game, I'm just hoping it's just going to be us just blowing them away. Like that just, and I could see a Trossard goal. I could see an Eze goal in this. Do you know what I can't see? Gabriel goal.
I don't know if that's the best transition in the world, but we'll go with it.
It wasn't a transition. I'm just saying. I'm like, I mean, we can. Let me go through some slides. Let me get to it. Go on then. Why not? Why not? Let's go for it then. I have got something to do with him. Of course I have. Big Gabby, it's going to be out, isn't he? You know what? I think the biggest thing for me is not just, his presence in defence and his goal scoring prowess. Can I call it that now? Like, I mean, he is absolutely unreal on both boxes. It's his big game attitude. Like every derby, he is up for this. Like I think he's one of those players that just gets it. And I think for me, more than like the player that he is in terms of the qualities that he has, it's the attitude he's got. Like I'm hoping whatever decision Arteta makes in, replacing him, whether that is Calafiori coming inside and Miles going out, or Hincapié coming in, or Mascara coming in, like whatever decision is made, it has to be the right kind of personality choice. But the good thing is I'm not worried about any choice, actually. I don't know about you. None of them make me think, oh, no, I just don't want that one. Okay. I'm kind of confident in every single version of our defence. Yeah, talk to me about Gabby. Big Gabby. Like, how big of a loss is it? Is it a loss?
Yeah, it's obviously quite a big of a loss. Like, I think still this season he'd been. I mean, I would say he was our best player, but then now he's made kind of two big mistakes that have led to goals now. So,
Mm.
barring that, he has been fantastic, but I would put him below Timber because he did, I think, make a little bit of a mistake. Albeit it can be seen as rise as well against Sunderland. And he did make the mistake against Newcastle, which is the reason why we conceded. So, yeah, it's harsh because obviously defenders, if they make mistakes, that's what happens. If a winger makes a mistake, who cares? But like it's the sort of thing where like it is going to be a big miss. I think more of that mentality thing. But we're so far into this, a lot of these players' time at Arsenal. I know that we're going to talk about like the replacements not necessarily being like fully fledged in the team yet and only been here for a bit, but it does seem like everyone kind of understands where they need to get to that level too. Obviously, I think a lot of people are like, like he's gonna get injured whatever game he gets injured. I think the fact it was a friendly really annoyed people because apparently he was
Mm.
had a knock or whatever. I don't know, but it's just one of the things where I think he wanted to play at the Emirates because it's kind of like built up like Gabriel's gonna play in front of like the Arsenal stadium.
Yeah.
So I think the frustration around it is annoying because yet again it just seems like negligence by international football managers. And to be fair to Ancelotti, he didn't really seem like he cared about Gabriel playing too much. I know that people are going to blame it on him, but I do think there's a sense of Gabriel taking responsibility for this. He needs to say to the manager not to play. And I know people will go, well, that's his place out. It's not. I mean, there's loads of injuries Brazil have in defence. Good luck finding a defender anywhere near as good as Gabriel to play.
Yeah,
It's
true.
just fine to just have him out for a game. And I just think this is like that consistent thing. I think with international football, one of the big worries that I have specifically is just how managers act in international football. You see it all the time where it comes from arrogance, where they just don't get to see their players a lot, so they play them all the time. I completely understand if Thomas Tuchel wants to play Declan Rice and Declan Rice is his starting DM for the World Cup and he wants to get more minutes with him. But there is a certain level of you need to experiment. And I hate when people say, well, why do you need to experiment? These are qualifiers. Because when you get to the World Cup, and let's say, oh no, worst case scenario, Declan Rice tears his ACL in April or May, he won't be at the World Cup anyway. And then you've got to think about a replacement for him within two friendlies that you haven't figured out because you've played him in every single game. Even in games that don't matter, we're playing Serbia, we've won 7 out of 7. It doesn't matter. Nope, he's playing again 60 minutes. Like, I don't really mind Saka too much because he's had a lot of injuries out of the team, so I get why he'd probably want to bring him in a bit. But Rice has played every single game for Tuchel pretty much, other than like one. And I just think to me, like, this is the same sort of thing with Gabriel. It took Gabriel so many years to get into the Brazil side that for the last year and a half, he started every game nearly, where it's just becoming a problem they don't rotate. At least we have the benefit of France. France rotate their team a lot. Saliba didn't play in the other day. They brought him out of the side. Even Spain. Spain played Turkey and, Zubimendi didn't play. Mourinho didn't play the game before, and they came on. Like, they actually changed the team a bit because they were like, well, it doesn't matter. We need to find other players. And that is such an important part of this thing that they don't do. The injury is annoying. I actually blame more Gabriel than I do the management of Brazil or our team because this is, like, in my
Ooh.
opinion, is just he has the responsibility to say to stuff. And I know people are going to say, but it's a friendly at the end of the day against a team that it doesn't even matter in the Emirates. It's a pointless game, an exhibition, if that. And I think he, as one of the leaders of the team, as one of the most important players for Arsenal right now, knowing that we had a North London derby, Chelsea and Bayern in a week coming up, he just has to be more efficient. He just has to be better. He just has to put his foot down and say, I don't feel this going well. And I had a knock. I had individual training the day before, and I think that's on him at the end of the day. It's annoying. I think that it will be broadly fine. I actually don't mind some of these players. If it's only a month injury, which I'm a bit skeptical on, I think it will end up being more just because
I think it'll be about 2.
Yeah, because they always say this, don't they, to kind of like soften the blow. We've seen it with Havertz. I know, unfortunately, it looks like Havertz has picked up another knock, which we will talk about. But like they always say, like I found it. I actually found a tweet. I was looking through my bookmarks on Twitter, and I found a tweet from when Havertz got injured against United, saying, "I will only be out for a couple of weeks," and it was like by a reported source. And then I was like, "That's so funny," because that was 2 months ago now, and I was like, "He's still not back," and I was like, it's just all like, it's just all whatever. They just say stuff. I know you don't know, especially when stuff just happens. The timeline's a bit funky. You've got to do extra tests. I get that. You know, we're gonna see with Gabriel's test next week, even more. But like, yeah, it's one of them things where he'll probably be out for a big part of our season now. We play 15 games, I think it is, in about the next 8 weeks. I think we only have 1 week
Yeah.
where we don't play midweek, and that is the week where we would have played Carabao, but then they moved it to the Christmas week. So yeah, it's a very busy time. It's annoying that he's not going to be there. The money that we spent on Hincapié now looks worth it. I would say it definitely looks much more beneficial. I personally would, and I've been going on about this all week, I would personally start Hincapié at centre back, even though I've been a very big advocate for him for left back. But with the reports today that Calafiori hasn't trained, we still don't know what's going on with Calafiori, which is not an injury people can blame on international break, because he just got that in against
Oh,
Sunderland. Um, it's not that bad though. Like I find it hard to complain about this sort of stuff, because I look at Liverpool and, you know, Slot's going, I have no defenders, and I'm like, well, if we have injuries, we can just play Miles and Hincapié or Mascara still. And broadly, these players need minutes. You know,
yeah.
we've seen the big complaints about Miles this season. I think Miles can play in this game and be broadly quite fine. I think Hincapié and Calafiori to me is perfect. I think I would play Calafiori at left back and Hincapié centre back, just because of the attacking nature that I know he's going to still want to get from Calafiori in his movement. I know that, you know, you get a different outlet with Hincapié at left back, and Calafiori is probably maybe a better centre back and more experienced as a centre back in a back four. I get that. But I just think for the attack and work, I know what Arteta's like. I know what I've seen in this team, and I think that's what he'll go for. So like, it's broadly okay. Like, it's annoying because it's such a good timeout. But you know, I'm hoping we get some good minutes, and I'm also hoping that this might mean a couple of weeks' time, a couple of months' time, maybe when we've got them cup games or the games against, I know no team's easy in this league anymore, but maybe the games where it isn't as stressful later on in the games, maybe we could see Marley Salmon come on. I would love to see Marley Salmon have a few
Oh, that's a
minutes.
shout. That's
I
a
would love to
great
see it,
shout.
because I think he's forgotten, but he is currently at the England under-17s World Cup,
Mhm.
so he will have to come back from that. But yeah, that's what I'm hoping for. So it's always got to look for positives.
And the pod, mate, he's just basically went through lineup, Big Gabby, the whole Brazilian thing, look to the future. Thanks everyone tuning in, guys,
That's
and
the
we
video.
will see you next week. Mate, I have so much to digest there. It's funny because, like, going back to like the friendly, like what this injury stemmed from. Like, originally, my head was gone. Like, I'll be honest, it was like PTSD of like Diaby, Eduardo, Wilshire, Ramsey, like all these players. Like, it just brought back so many memories of, oh, of course, you know, we're bound to lose a big player. It's always going to happen. But having said that, I think in modern football now, just look at the injuries Tottenham have got as well. It's not uncommon now to have multiple injuries. I think the biggest concern is when you have them in clusters, and we've got a huge cluster in our front line. That's the biggest thing. In terms of like, yeah, his injury itself, it's just so frustrating. So like at first I thought, like, why on earth is Arteta letting him go if he's got load management? Because apparently in the warm up, he wasn't warming up with the rest of the team because they had to manage his load. And I thought that's not a good sign prior to a game in itself. Also, you know, the game doesn't mean anything. Like to us especially, that game does not mean anything. And then you're looking going, wow, it's not a competitive game. So is there any need for it? You know, could they play another defender and work things out in case Gabriel goes down, like you talked about with Declan Rice? And then I left it for an evening, had to think about it. And I thought to myself, okay, if I was in Big Gabby's shoes, I'd want to play. Like, you're going out and getting another cap for your country. something that he originally struggled to do. You know, he wasn't getting in the Brazil team. And we were all going, you know, why on earth is he not playing for Brazil? So for him, it's probably like, you know, another opportunity to go and play for Brazil. It's at the Emirates, which is massive, you know. For him, it's like, well, when are you ever going to play for Brazil at the Emirates? It's not going to really happen. So it's an opportunity not to be missed. Arteta should have put his foot down. Like, I think a lot of it probably hangs on him if they're aware that he's redlining. That's, you know,
I don't.
I don't know
think
how
managers
much.
get a choice. I personally don't think they have any say. I don't
Yeah,
think that
that's
they
true.
get
It's
anything.
that, like, unless if he says, look, you are not allowed to play, like, do not make this
And I
mistake.
don't even
then
think
the
they can do
doctors,
that.
but and that's the thing. I don't. And then on the flip side, you do wonder like how much pressure there is on him from the Brazilian camp of, you know, we need you at the Emirates, not only like for what he can produce on the pitch and for that continuity for the team, because let's be honest, Brazil have been dire. They have been awful. And I think they're probably looking at him and going, you're one of the big characters now. You're one of the people that we need in this team. And then commercially, it's probably like a big thing for him to be playing, like commercially. So there's probably that extra pressure. But I don't know, like with everything, like we always on the pod, don't we? We always try to have like a balanced argument with everything. Like I'm a bit on the side, I'm similar to you. I think it's up to the player at the end of the day. If the player thinks to himself, I can play, he's probably going to do it, especially in, you know, the mindset of Big Gabby. Big Gabby is not a type of player. He's like Ben White. They're never going to say they're not going to play. Surely at some point, they need to have an idea of big picture. You know, is this game as important as the next 4 or 5 for Arsenal, which he'd probably be available for? So, 610 Vegas is in the house. Apparently, Fergie, we would disagree with you, WOKLZ.
Yeah, because it's like being like, oh, yeah, but someone did it before. Yeah, he cheated. You're not really supposed to do it. It's like one of them things where it's like you can't actually
Like
just
the Rooney
say,
dive.
you can't actually be like, oh, yeah, you can't go and play for your national team. Like, I think like the perception that people have about football managers that they can just do that is crazy. And yeah, there is managers in the past that have done that. And there's players that have probably not cared as much in different situations. I mean, let's not forget, like a lot of these people care about their countries a lot more than I think England international players did for the last 15 years because it was just dire playing for England. It is like even now, like, you know, it's great playing for England. I'm sure they're a great team, but I mean, look at all the stuff that you get along with being playing for England. I wouldn't bother. Like, it's just awful experience. But yeah, like it's one of them things where I just don't think the managers have. I feel like they have a say, but I think their say's the lowest. Like I'm sure that we said to Odegaard, "Stop going to Norway. You're not playing. Just sit at home." But he's their captain. Everyone in Norway looks up to Odegaard. I know, like everyone here looks at Haaland and Odegaard, but they don't in that country. Odegaard was the prodigy 15-year-old, the guy that they all wanted to be. The guy went to Real Madrid at such a young age. So they all look up to Odegaard in many ways, despite him being still quite young. And like he's not going to just let every one of them down just to be like, nah. So he will want to be there for them. It's just one of them things that, unfortunately, one, I think that's kind of how international football is nowadays. I think a lot of nations really have kind of closed in on this whole like family organization. You know, we spoke about it, but Southgate was a big part of that. His tactics were awful, but he made everyone look like nice and everyone was happy to be a part of that England team because he made it a family. And I think a lot of national teams are like that nowadays, and people just don't want to get away from that. They don't get to see these people in their national team very often. You know, this is the last break till March. So, you know, they're always on it. They probably can't see him and they probably just want to be a part of it. And unfortunately, I think with Gabriel, this is one of them situations where I bet he pushed himself to play this game because it was the Emirates and he wanted to be, well, I'm Arsenal, you know, advertise it around him sort of thing, unfortunately. And it's just one of them things where it is just really annoying because, like, if I was the manager, I would be the same. I'd be like, don't play. But because I think that they should have more say, like, because I just think, like, at the end of the day, they pay the money. You know, Brazil aren't paying Gabriel. to every week. They aren't the ones that are going to have to suffice with his 2-month injury. They don't see him again till March. He'll be fine by then. And like, I think it's like funny how they can just cause all these problems and then just leave it. And I just think, yeah, I don't know. I'm just so sick of international football. I think everyone
I
is.
am
I
with
think
you on that.
every year as well, when we get to this point when the third international break's going, like it just feels like so much. I know there's gonna be a lot of football for Arsenal over the next few months, but at least now we've got 4 months where it is just Arsenal, where I don't need to think about international break and we've played 3 games now, we've got to stop for 2 weeks. And now we've got because it's sometimes it's fine to stop, like with the March one when it comes around. Usually when the March one comes around, I'm like, oh my god, I need a break, thank God, from Arsenal. But I do think there's a certain level of like, yeah, that we just need to get in the flow of things, and I think that doesn't help the players. All this stop start, all this traveling. It's just bad to stay away. It's annoying. Gabriel's got injured.
Mhm.
I think everyone is a part to blame. I don't think Arteta's innocent at all, but I feel like he's probably the least I would blame. I blame Ancelotti a little bit more, and I blame the player, I think, the most at the moment in this situation. I don't think every situation's the same. Like, when the Odegaard situation happened with Norway, like that is mostly on the Norway manager, I think. But it is just what it is. This
Yeah.
is the context in this situation.
Mate, I have been dropping out. I don't know if that's been obvious to you, which is quite funny. So if anyone's in the chat and sees a random message, like it just came out with random letters, I'll put it on screen. This one, that is me trying to say connection issues, sorry, and it just came up with that. I don't even know what that is. So if I drop out, I do apologize. I will be straight back in. Now, like, yeah, international break. I don't know. Something has to happen where it's like, like how certain leagues have a winter break. I don't understand why we can't just have one break where it's international matches and then get back in rather than,
They're kind of doing that next year, aren't they? Because
yeah,
they're moving from 3 to 2, and it's a
I'm hoping
3-week
that's
one.
a little bit better, but
I think a month of international football by itself, I would do some
what you
not
go on
things
holiday, mate?
things I can't say on this podcast. Yeah, I mean, what would I do for a month? Like, what is there even to talk about? In this 2 weeks, in this whole week, I've just been like, what do we even talk about? Like, there's injury news, and then there's not injury news. I mean, the injury is the big thing with Arsenal, but some other teams, I'm sure there's like nothing going on. Like, it's just so dire this time, and I don't know, man. I'm so done with this international break and all these injuries and these friendlies. I mean, a lot of our players, actually, I will say, over this break, didn't play 2 games. Like,
Mhm.
I actually think Rice might have been the only person in our entire team that started both games, and maybe Hincapié, but he played 2 friendlies, so whatever. Like, I think they're the only 2. I don't think anyone else played 2 games from the start. Zuba didn't, Marino didn't, Saka didn't, Eze didn't, Trossard didn't. So I think
No, you might be right there.
Saliba didn't. So I think we actually had some good minutes this week where managers were a little bit more lenient and going, oh yeah, they're not playing, it's fine, take them out. So I'm not too like, this one was fine. I know Gabriel getting injured is annoying, but it could have been much worse. Like, I don't think the minutes on the guys was too bad this time. Hopefully,
Yeah, no, I agree. Like, it's a funny one, isn't it? Now I remember the last time we spoke last week, you were talking about Tottenham's, I don't know, the quality of the teams they've played. So I think you were saying that essentially on average they were playing like some of the bottom teams. I'd look at this from Opta. So which teams have overperformed and underperformed? So we obviously sit first and we're exactly where we should be. We're not overperforming. We're not underperforming. We should be first. I think everyone agreed with that. Spurs, meanwhile, lovely Spurs down here. Okay. So, yeah, actual position, unexpected position. Thoughts, mate?
well, this is not surprising. Like, I don't know if I mentioned a little bit last week about how Villa were the exact same situation as Tottenham.
Mhm.
And like, if anyone looks at any expected goal stats, chat tallies this season, only 4 teams in the entire league have an expected goal difference of plus, which means they were expected to score more goals than they concede. And the only 4 teams in the entire league that has that is Arsenal, Chelsea just have it. City and Liverpool, I think, is
Yeah.
Liverpool. Actually, no, it might not be Liverpool. It might be one of the other weird teams around there. I think Liverpool might just be on the cusp, somewhere about there. But Spurs and Aston Villa specifically, I mean, on this list it says Sunderland as well, but on XG metrics, they have scored a huge amount of more goals than they should have. Tottenham's XG this season is around 11.22. It's about around there. They have scored 18 goals this season. Our XG is 20.6 and we've scored 20, or it's 19.6 and we've scored 20. We're literally on it, like basically on it. Aston Villa are in the exact same situation. They have performed over XG by, I think, like 7 or 8 goals. That is a huge amount of difference in 10 or 11 games we've played to have
It's
8
mad.
goals more from XG. And they are the 2 big outliers. There's a lot of teams that actually just suck and they've been getting lucky. But when I was looking at, I looked at the league table this morning when I did my Tottenham preview video earlier, and I was looking at it and I was like, there's so many teams on 18 points. But Man United are actively a better team than half of these teams. Like, statistically, they've been better, even though I'm a big critic of them. They have 100% been better than Tottenham. They're averaging a 0.6, like, per goals more than them per game, or shots and everything. And there's a certain level to when this runs out. And Tottenham, not only have they had an easy schedule in the league, in the Champions League, in the Cup, it's been easy all the way through. Their Champions League 4 games they've played so far, or 3 games, whatever. They're playing nobodies. I mean, no offense to Villarreal, but like, that's not like echelon's teams. And I was looking at it, the stats this morning. I was looking at all of Tottenham's like details. They've got the most tackles per 90. They break up play a lot. Their XG is awful in every single big game, barring the Man City one, which was the second game of the season. So it was over 2.5 months ago now. They have done nothing. Against Man United, they created less than a 1 XG. They scored from 1 set piece and were awful.
Yep.
They created more of an XG from set pieces in that game at a 0.54 and then a 0.43 from open play. Against Chelsea, it's well documented. They had 1 shot. They had a 0.12 XG or whatever, and that was it. They created nothing. Chelsea had a 2.9. Absolutely playing them off the park. It's not the only games. Any game where they play against someone that's somewhat competitive, they struggle. Bournemouth at home, they lost, struggled, created nothing. Bournemouth deserved to win. Aston Villa at home. Now, Aston Villa at home was a game where they both created nothing. They both had like a 0.3 XG. Aston Villa had 2 shots and scored twice from outside the box, which is like, okay, yeah, it's a bit unlucky in that sense, but they didn't deserve to win either. And that was another game like it. Every game they've dropped points in, it's been the same thing. Brighton away, they didn't play great. They drew 2-2.
Yep.
Like, it's just so funny to me that there's a certain level in football where the reason why people take XG into account so high over a long period of time, which I like doing a lot more than 1 game.
Yeah, I completely agree with that, mate.
Because I think game state matters a lot in context. But over the course of 11 games this season, not only are they getting incredibly lucky, just genuinely, they're scoring some incredible goals, they're creating nothing from open play, and they are more set piece driven than anywhere. And they've scored like 5 or 6 set piece goals, which is not the 10 that we've scored. It's not like the 8 or 9 or what Chelsea have scored overall. But it's because they're just not as good, genuinely. Like, that's the problem. They beat West Ham 3-0 away, scoring a couple of set pieces. They were broadly good in that game, but West Ham are awful. They beat Everton 3-0 at the new River Stadium, whatever it's called. And they did not create any chances from open play until they scored 3 goals in the 70th minute. They scored 3 corners. I think one might be free kick. I can't remember. And they literally didn't create anything from open play. And like, I'm looking at all these stats. I'm looking at what the data shows me. I'm looking at how I watch them play. They can't pass the ball. No one in their midfield knows how to pass the ball. They've got Polina, who just is excellent off the ball this season. He's been one of their best players, but he's a destroyer. He breaks up play and then gets in the box. He's been good at that. You know, they've got Bentancur, who's a carrier. He can't pass it. He has to carry it. They've got Papa Matassar, who's a carrier, can't pass it. They've got Xavi Simons, who is an okay passer, but they can never get the ball to him between the lines. I watched so much of how Chelsea pressed against them when they played them, and it was just the same stuff where Caicedo would just run at Papa Matassar, they would block the wide player from getting the pass and block Bentancur from having the space to run. And then they just panicked and just kicked the ball at them, and it bounced to Chelsea a couple of times, and that's how they scored and how they nearly won even more. And I was like, we can do that to this team, but we can press them off the pitch and get these wide areas out and stop them passing. We can block carrying
100%.
areas. And the thing is, Tottenham this season have been playing a lot deeper. Who would have thought with Frank? It's obviously how he's going to play. But the reason why Frank's teams at Brentford worked so well is because they had the ability to go long and they had the ability to be quick on the counter. Now, Tottenham aren't exactly bad on the counter, but they need that space to carry it. They need to, especially out wide, all their progression is out on wide areas because they just can't do it in the middle, which makes sense if you play any mid block. You're not going to be able to carry it in the middle. So that every time they get out, it's like, well, hopefully there's a guy on the wing. If not, we're not getting the ball out. Like, we're just kicking the ball at 40 yards in the air and it's going to the other team. And, like, I look at how Tottenham play and I'm like, we should be able to counter them, just genuinely. Like, I do worry a little bit about Gabriel not being there, like you said, with the set pieces defensively. I actually worry a lot about WOKLZ not being there as well, because I think he's been very good. But then
Near
Marino,
post.
you would hope Marino could kind of replicate that. So it's not really like too much of a worry in that sense. But I think, like, other than set pieces, which we're not the best at defending, we can be a little bit weird sometimes.
Yeah.
Rise had to do some good saves this season where I'm like, okay, we haven't marked anyone there. But other than that, like, I just can't really see this team doing much to us, especially with our pace at the back where they want to carry it. Hincapié or Mosquera plays. They're very good, very fast players. So I don't know, man. Like, it's one of them games where they're probably going to sit in a mid block. It's probably not going to be your normal Tottenham Arsenal game. They're probably just going to sit deep, probably just going to kick us a lot. But I think against Sunderland, I rewatched the game this morning, got some notes about it, and I was like, actually, I think this is one of our. This reminded me a little bit of 23-24 when we were playing against low blocks like Sheffield and all them teams where we penned them in and we were having chance after chance. And I don't think that will be what happens in the Tottenham game. I don't think we'll take that many risks unless we have to. I don't think it will be like that because Tottenham are a better team. Like Van de Ven and Romero are good defenders. But broadly, if we get control in this game, which I think we will, I think Tottenham will struggle. And that's what I'm hoping.
Oh, wouldn't that be nice, mate? No, I completely agree. Like, I think we'll probably go into the lineup in a little bit, but the set pieces is the only thing I worry about, really. I just think as much as we are lacking, a linchpin in our defense, multiple people in our attacking lines, and including Odegaard being that kind of creative hub, I just think we've got everything we need to just suffocate them. I think Zubimendi and Declan Rice are the two people I look at and go, well, you could just more or less win the game on your own, just through control. Like, I don't have too many concerns, which might be, the kiss of death, maybe. But it's, which maybe that's part of the reason I'm not that beat up about this game, because I don't feel that we are going to overrun them to the point where we win a 4-0 game or something like that. And at the same time, I'm not terrified of them, so I'm not worried about anything. So at the same time, I haven't got that like nervous energy of like, come on, we've got to get ourselves up for this. Like, I think we just turn up, do our jobs, move on to the next game. Like, I genuinely think that's how it's going to be, with the added spice of it being a derby. So people will get kicked. We've got an interesting choice of referee that could play into it. But yeah, it'll be. I don't know, this graph itself, when I look at it, we had loads of people having discussions about what's sustainable. Can Arsenal continue what they've been doing? This is a really good indicator of what is sustainable. And I look at it and go, yeah, like we should be up near the top of the league. Like, we should be 1 or 2. But as simple as that, like, over the course of the season, we've got to be in the top 2. You look at like Liverpool, where they are, doesn't really show signs of sustainability, and shows why they're kind of, maybe it's a bit harsh saying out of the title race, but I personally feel they are out of the title race already. And Tottenham, like, look at them. Like, how can that discrepancy be that big? Like, it should never be that big. You can imagine it being 3 or 4, but that is enormous. Sunderland, I can kind of understand. You need to promote a team. They're on a hot streak. They're doing really well. Villa as well. Like, Villa and Spurs, it's It's not great to look at. Like, that would not, if I was a fan of one of those clubs, number one, kill me now. But number two, that just wouldn't fill me with much confidence about the season itself.
Yeah.
And that's why I kind of like this. I thought,
It's
let's have a
like,
little look at this.
it is based on some like stats that are quite specific. Like I will say for Villa, for sake, that Villa lost their they literally had like 0 points from their first 6 games. And they were getting pummeled, and like that is going to make, like, if you lose 4-0 and the other team creates like a 3.5 xg and you create a 0, then your difference is going to be loads.
Is true.
Even if you go and win 1-0 and you create a 1 and they create a 0 where you deserve to win, then that xg is going to be a little bit like depicted in that way.
Yeah.
And like Villa as well, like their win against Tottenham, I watched that game. Both teams created nothing. Villa just won it because they scored 2 like really good long shots, which is not going to happen every game. It's just kind of like a freak thing, you could say. Good shots, like Buendia scored. That's my boy, of course. Like, but you know, former Norwich player. But like,
I had to make the connection then. I was like, yeah, but he didn't come to us. What are you talking about?
My first ever shift at Norwich, he got red carded. So what a beast! But like that sort of thing. I watched that game, and then when Buendia scored in the 70th minute, Villa kind of knew they got away with one. They played a cagey game anyway because they're away against the top 6 team, and then it's like, oh, we don't need to attack as much because we've done, like, we're going to at least get a win or get a draw here. We're not going to drop. We're not going to lose this game now. And it's like one of them things where, like, I do think sometimes these stats over certain games can like depict it. Tottenham though, like, are a little like they shouldn't be this low. Like, they have played easier opponents, but it's because every time they play good opponents, they're just not great. Like, I did speak about the United game, and they did actually have more of an XG than United, but United were better in that game, barring the XG being like that. And, you know, I'm pretty sure Spurs had a lower XG until like the 90th minute, and then they got loads anyway. So that's like another thing where that depicts it and makes it look, oh, well, Tottenham had a higher XG in this game, but you look at the stats, you're like, well, actually, they didn't do anything until the 90th minute when they had to, and it's like they got a bit lucky to score from their 2 attacks. So, yeah, I mean, Tottenham haven't been good, but sometimes teams just do like screw these stats over. Like Nottingham Forest last year should have been like 15th, and they were like in the Champions League races for most of it, and came 7th in the end. You know, Unai Emery is a guy that just always does this. His XG is always awful, and he just happens to get results. He's done it at Villa. He did it at Arsenal when he went 24 games unbeaten, and we were pretty crap in all of them. And it's just how it is. Sometimes these guys are not just find a way. So, and Frank Wardley,
I find out that with players as well. Like, I think of Son, ironically, Tottenham. Like, he's a player who's always outperformed his XG. Like, it is what it is, you know. I think, yeah, you hit the nail on the head in terms of taking it into account. Like, there's always going to be outliers. There's always going to be certain things, like especially what you said about Villa. Like, when you do have those massive kind of, I don't want to use the word discrepancies again. I used it again. But it is, you know, when you have a huge gap, that is going to build up over time. And I don't know.
I've been playing Football Manager. You know, I'm Crystal Palace. In every single game, I'm playing with my mate. He's Forest, and he is every game having a 3xG against teams and winning 1-0 or drawing or losing. I went unbeaten for 5.5 months. I don't think we created over 1.5 XG in any game. Don't need to. You know, set pieces, just cross the ball in to Eddie Nketiah, and that's it. Just don't even bother. Like, that's all I did for 5 months, and it worked. Like, I think sometimes if you play that way, it can work. And I will talk about XG a bit later, because I actually want to end on a subject which is relevant to XG, and it's about a certain player that might have a release clause, because I think we can have a good debate about him. Because I've got some things to say, but we'll do that later. I think that's a good way to end.
Yeah, I like that. Let's go through some comments a minute. Sorry, I haven't been neglecting you guys. It's literally because the connection has been so bad. I haven't been able to put them all up. So, Vegas, more worried about having no strikers than Gabriel out for a month or so. And I completely agree with this. Like, that's the beauty about our summer. Like, that has been a huge thing. It's so ironic, isn't it? We bring Gyökeres in, injured. Bring Madueke in, injured. You can bring as many players as you want, but unfortunately, they're not always going to be available. You just got to kind of hedge your bets that at some point they're not all going to be injured. But I do think the options we've got in defence, great. we just need some options in attack, because when we go through our starting lineup, I have a feeling we're probably, maybe bar one player, we're probably going to have exactly the same 11s. Like, I genuinely think that that's the one annoying thing. Like, I like having the options, not just during the game states, like change your game state and kind of affect the game at its point, but keeping other managers guessing, keeping other teams guessing of like how you're going to apply yourselves. Like in the Champions League, we seem to have an 11. In the Premier League, we seem to have an 11, which is quite nice. But it's always nice to have that little kind of option that you can change. And at the moment, we just don't have that. Ryan's saying, let's see what Incapie has. However, Vegas is saying no. Mosquera. We just go into this lineup thing.
Yeah.
Right. Let's bring up
It's
the
funny
old
because
tactical board then.
It's so funny because we talk about this a lot when we do our like teams that we make for the games, and we're like, well, we don't actually know who's fit because Arteta's just like a liar. And
That's so
and
true.
I think this week is going to be like the biggest fit. We could make a team of what we know right now, and we get to Sunday, and I don't think the first team is going to change that much, but the bench could be mental. Like, it's just like we just don't know who's fit because it's literally like the most fun that Arsenal have is who's going to be fit, and it's like a game every week at this point. Like, who's coming back? We've had this conversation with Odegaard for about 5 different match days now. Of like, is he going to be fit? And we're going to have it again in a bit. So
I know, it's mad, isn't it? I have sent across. Sorry, I had to like stop presenting before everyone had my link to my tactical board. I've sent it in the private chat, mate. So what I've done, essentially, anyone in orange is potential kind of appearance. Grey means they're most likely going to be out. Obviously, the red is Arsenal, the white is, the dirty lot down the road. So these are the most recent kind of lineups. So we've got David in goal, Calafiori out on the left with centre-back pairing Gabriel and Saliba. Gabriel obviously missing, Timber out on the right. Jimmy, Rice and Eze with Trossard, Marino and Saka. The Tottenham lineup was Vicario in goal with Spence, Van der Ven and Romero partnered in the middle with Oro out on the right. A kind of pivot pairing with Paulinho and Sarr, Javi Simmons as their 10, Brennan Johnson out wide with Mwani in the middle and Richarlison on the left. Before we start going through ours, can I just suggest what I reckon Tottenham are going to do?
yeah,
And then we'll kind of discuss from there. So I have a feeling Mwani apparently is available with a face mask. I don't think he'll start.
he's going to have aura. Oh no.
Don't say that. Mwani face mask
He's
version.
actually overpowered as well in FM. He was like the top goal scorer. He had like 15 Prem goals in like December, in my save. Like that. I don't like Conan Mwani. I don't like Tottenham either. They beat me.
I'm hoping now, especially now you've said that, I'm thinking like Osman vibes with the mask. Richarlison comes in the middle, then Brennan Johnson comes out onto the left, and then Kudus comes out on the right. I also think they're going to take Xavi Simmons out, and then I think Paulinho will come inside with Bentancur, and they play like a flat 3. Because I have a feeling coming to the Emirates, they'll go, no, it's not time for this lad to be playing. And we'll try to shore it up. We'll try to, nick some points. Like, is that what you reckon they'll go for? Any changes?
I think, like, obviously, I don't think it's a secret that Xavi Simmons' biggest problem has been his physicality. But every time I talk to some Tottenham fans, they just talk about that. Like, it is like a real serious issue, how he cannot basically get 4 touches on a ball because he just gets bodied and that's it. And I just think, considering our team is like physical FC, with a slight bit of technical in there now, but we are still
we're getting there.
Yeah, we are getting there. Still broadly very physical. I just don't really see Xavi Simmons working, especially if they're going to sit deeper. Like we said, like the issue is with this team though, like he is the only guy that could make a pass on the break. Like, who's going to make a pass if they need to get on the break? Probably one of their centre backs, I would imagine, is got the best chance. Like probably Romero, I would say, or Van der Ven.
Mhm.
I think a Van de Ven carry might be their best attack. Like I love Sarr. I think Papa Matasar's a great player. As a good he's just a little bit like a guy that does it all, but he's not amazing at anything. He's just very good at decent at everything else, and he could just run around and he's great off the ball movement. I just think I think they might do this. I don't know how fit Kudus is because it's been a late thing, and I don't know if Kudus is a little bit frantic. I know a lot of Tottenham fans aren't happy with Kudus this season because they feel like I said, when they need to get that break and be quick, he's a guy that's faffing around with the ball. He's trying to do nutmegs. He's trying to dribble. And I've watched a few games this season. I'm like, what is Kudus doing? He's taking the man on, then he stood still, and the guy's come back again. He's trying to take
And then
him
he's
on
trying
again.
to beat him on again.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's the same guy, man. He's playing like Doku from 3 years ago at Rennes. You need to do something else. And Kudus is a great player that can create stuff. I think that's why you have them. I wouldn't be surprised if they just play Tell on the right, because Tell is a little bit more of a...
That's an interesting shout.
Because the way that works, I don't know if I would play Tell and Johnson, though. I think there's more likely to find an option on the left. I think Odebert's a great player, and I think they should play Odebert, but I don't think they will. But I think Tell can play as a striker alongside Richarlison. So if they needed to move into a bit of a 4-4-2 in terms of a block, which would make more sense, I think that might make a bit more... logic, but like I said, all their progression comes from the wings, so maybe they still want them wingers out there, but then Tell can still come out wide. So I don't know. I feel like this might be a game for Tell, and I know Tell's been playing quite a bit recently, and a few Tottenham fans have said to me they actually think he's been quite good. So maybe Tell's up front. Maybe they just go, no, not Richarlison. I think Richarlison will play against us. I think he is that sort of striker you want playing against us. He's a
Derby striker, isn't he?
Yeah.
I mean, he reminds me of like a Costa, that kind of just annoying.
He's physical. He will cause us problems. He's really good in the air. Like almost every goal he scores is in the air. So I could see I would play Richarlison I was them. But yeah, they've got options on the wing. Like everyone's been telling me they've got these injuries. Like they do, but like barring Kudoveski and maybe Solanke, which you've got 4 strikers, play one of the others, and maybe Bergval, but Bergval might even be back for this game. Like I don't really think
he is back for this game. Yeah, it came out about 2 hours ago.
If I was them, I'd play Bergval. He's better than most of their midfielders, and he's young. I think.
Oh no, sorry, Bergval is not. No, he's not back for this game. I thought he was. I'd put him there, and then I think I'd put it back up there. Yeah, he's not. I will remove him from there. Yeah, the rumor was he was going to come back, but Ben Davies is the one they're saying might be back. And Takai.
I don't think Takai's even played yet, bless him.
Yeah, do you know what? Quick question. Xavi Simons, him out in a wider area, if he was to play in this game, would that suit him more in terms of like the physicality? And I mean, it's not... Having like someone like Timber and Saka around is not easy, but I'm just thinking if Kudus isn't fully fit and they want to keep Johnson out wide, they had played Richarlison out on the left in their last game against United. Could he come in here and then start to kind of drift inside? Like for me, I just wouldn't do it, but is that an option?
Yeah, maybe. I just don't know how I feel about Xavi Simons being a guy that's like out on the wide areas to come inside. Like he can do it, and there's definitely been patches of him doing it when he's had to in the Bundesliga. But let's not forget the Bundesliga, there's space everywhere. There's counter-attacking opportunities anywhere. You can literally take about 5 touches on the ball at the halfway line, and you still won't get anyone press you, and you can put a free ball through. That's just how it is. I just don't know if I feel like in the Prem, if he's going to work, he has to play as an all-round 8. And he just needs to get better at receiving in the block, and to do that, he needs even insane balance, which he does have good balance, but it's clearly not enough. Or he just needs to get somewhat physical to be able to maintain the tackles. Because that's the thing with Kudus. Kudus might faff around with the ball, but if Kudus receives the ball, he can keep it if he isn't, being an idiot with it. He is good. He is physical. It's the same with Eze. Like Eze is a guy that in the side the pockets isn't brilliant because he needs them couple of touches, but at least he's physical where he can kind of hold himself sometimes to keep it. And currently, he just does not have that, Xavi Simons. I just think I don't even think Johnson should play in this game broadly. I think if they want a counter-attacking opportunity, then Johnson makes sense. But Johnson just doesn't really do anything for me. He's a good poacher. He's a good guy at the back post sort of thing. And I just that might happen. They might get a counter against Arsenal where they have that opportunity. But that's so nitpicky and so random. It does Johnson give you that work? Like he doesn't work. He's going to work hard defensively. They should just play Odegaard. They should just play Odegaard.
Charles Watts has predicted that Odegaard will be starting, which is I thought interesting.
Odegaard is an incredible player. He was unfortunately injured for them last season a lot, but he's actually a dribbler that doesn't mess around with the ball. He just does his dribble and then runs forward. I think Odegaard would be a fun player, and I think but it is that thing. It's a North London derby. This is Frank's North London derby. I can't read him. I don't know if he's going to be oh, this is a big occasion for Odegaard. Let's put him on the bench. This is a big occasion for these players. We're not going to try them in this game. I don't know. I don't think Frank will. I think Frank's a brave manager. But yeah, it's an interesting proposition because it's also Porro. I know Porro hasn't been bad defensively this season, which Tottenham fans will tell me, but he's still a liability. And his best work is going forward. Is he even going to be able to do anything going forward if he's being pinned by Trossard the whole game? But they have to play him because who else are they going to play there? Your doggy's barely fit and that Porro's their star or whatever. You could play Spence on the right, but then you're going to play a left back. It's one of them things where
Davies comes back in.
They could play Van de Ven in left back if you want to get crazy, but it's one of them things where for them I'm their midfield that looks so disgusting. Oh
no, mate, I know what you mean.
The rest of the team's
on their own, in isolation, they're not horrendous. What they do, but as a collective, it's a mess.
That's a top 5. It's a top 5 defense in the league. That is one of the best defenses in Europe. That's a top 10 defense in Europe, easily. Even with your doggy coming in. I'm not the biggest fan of Vicario, but he's a decent shot stopper. But the other 4, the 4 defenders are fantastic. They're great players, very well good quality that can get Tottenham top 4 by itself, to be honest. It's just everywhere else there's just certain messes. I don't mind Kudus. I think that he's not been great. I think they're paid a lot, but I think broadly it's fine. I think, I think there's still a lot there to like about him. Tell was a lot expensive, but he's super young. I think Tell's got a future, whatever. Xavi Simons as well. But they spent 50 mil on Johnson, 60 mil on Richarlison, 65 mil on Solanke. They spent 35 mil on Kulusevski, and he's the best one. They spent 50 mil on Maddison or whatever, 40 mil Maddison's been injured for so long. It's just so much money on players that are fine. They're okay. They're just...
That's so true.
They're just okay players.
Yeah. All right. It's funny, isn't it? Let's go through our team. So the Arsenal lineup. I'm going to make this quick. Ready? Here we go. I played this exact team. I hope Calafiori's fit, and I presume he will be. It looks like he will be. Gabriel comes out, obviously. And I just think you put Nkapie in. I think the last time we saw him, he was fantastic. We're spending quite a lot of money on him at the end of this season. I know technically it's not now, but when you are investing that amount, I think it's for a good reason. He is left-footed, so he gives you that opportunity in those angles. He's aggressive, and he takes over that kind of mantle from Gabriel. I just think, just don't mess about with too much. Put him in there. And that's for me, I think, just go with that. And obviously, in the first 10 minutes, if he's having a mare, then we start going, okay, maybe we'll make a change at half time. But for me, he's a player. He captains his nation as well, doesn't he?
Mm-hmm.
He understands how to lead. Yeah. He understands how to lead. He's been he's played for a big club. He's played in big matches. I think he's ready for this game. I don't think there's any reason not to play him. But I think you said earlier Nkapie as well, didn't you?
Mm-hmm.
Would you stick with that team or?
From what we know, I think the Nkapie thing is interesting. The comment that said that he did travel and returned recently, I think is a fair point. But You know, I was always worried about that with Gabriel, where he'd go to Brazil and then we'd like rush him back and he'd play. And I'm like, no, no, no. Like, we have to, I guess. But Hincapié did play in America. He didn't play in Colombia over the last couple of weeks. And like broadly, we spent £45 million on Hincapié. He's one of the most expensive defenders in the world. He's probably in the top 15 defenders signed in the world for expensive. I know, like, it's not done yet, but when it goes through, and he isn't sat there to get replaced by Mascara. I also think Mascara, I think he obviously is 2-footed, and obviously he can play on the left where he's been broadly fine. But I think it changed a lot of the dynamics up a little bit. Mascara has broadly played, barring a couple of games this season, I think maybe like one. He has played in the Saliba role. He's played even on the right side of the pitch, or he's played in a role where he has to build up with the team, push out with the ball from the first press, and find a pass. Even when these two players, Hincapié and Mascara, played against Brighton, the roles that Hincapié played the Gabriel role in a sense, and he played the Saliba role. And only in certain moments where there was mistakes, he had to come back and defend in that recovery time. But it was very much Saliba-esque. I don't want to faff around with the Saliba role too much because we weren't bad when Kivior came into the team. I think everyone remembers them Champions League games, but we did draw a lot in the league with that team. But I think that's not really their fault. I do think there's a lot of like other problems with the team at that point, especially with the attack. But like, in that sort of instance, we tried to make, because we knew that Kivior is not going to be an aggressive defender, we had to make him do the sort of sweeping role. We had to make him recover a lot more. He had to play deeper and make them passes. And Kivior's a brilliant long passer, but he's not a guy that really understands tempo brilliantly and all that sort of stuff and when to do passes. He got better as the season went on, and I think he was broadly very good at it, and he's fantastic now. But, you know, it took time to develop, and Saliba had to be that more aggressive type of defender, which, even though he's 6'4" and he's the biggest guy on the team, we all know that Saliba doesn't like doing it. He's more of a technical guy. He doesn't use his physicality like that. He never has. And like, other than when he's like shielding, he doesn't really go out and just crunch people. That's not Saliba's sort of MO. So I think I don't want that to change. I want Saliba to stay in his role. I like Saliba kind of in going into midfield, which we've seen a lot more, or at least him being experimental of going forward, which I think completely is lost if this happens. So I think Hincapié, I think if you play Mascara, he can do that role still that Gabriel does, because he was obviously a very physical defender before, but I just think there's a little bit of like learning he needs to do. And let's not forget, Hincapié is much more experienced. He's played at the Champions League, Europa League level, you know, Europa League final. He's played at these big levels of football for many years. He's way more experienced than Mascara. I know Mascara's played a lot of games in La Liga, but he's only played for Spain's under-21s, for instance. There's a bit of a learning gap in terms of these players. And Hincapié was signed for 45 mil over Mascara, who was signed for 14 mil. I hate losing money because money's always different, but that broadly, Hincapié is going to be the player that comes in, and he's not been able to play so far because of injuries. And even recently, like, he's been fit, and we've brought Hincapié on a lot. I know Mascara actually came on against Sunderland, but we've been broadly using them a lot in different ways. And I think this is one of them times where I don't really mind who plays at the end of the day, but I think Hincapié makes more sense. I've just seen the EBLs on a big thread about how Hincapié makes more sense. So that makes, I don't really care about his opinion, but I do think he knows his stuff, to be fair, sometimes. So like, I respect it. Like, I just think Hincapié, for me, I do worry a little bit about that fitness, well, not the fitness in terms of that traveling, but we've seen so many South American players do that before, and he hasn't barely played this season. You know, he's going to have fresh legs. He has not had much minutes, and this is his time. We didn't bring a 50 mil defender in to sit on the bench, like, by nothing. And I still don't know about Calafiori. Calafiori's one of the guys that's up in the air. Like, I don't know if he's fit or not. Probably is. I feel like he might be okay. But even then, I think if this situation happens, I would just play Miles in left back and keep Hincapié centre back. That doesn't change my mind. I think for the rest of the team, I agree with this. We don't know about the injuries. It was reported that like everyone was going to be back, and then it was reported that 3 people were going to be back.
That's why I've got so many oranges there. Because I was like, I don't know. I just don't know what's happening.
And it looks like now that the big reports are that is going to be 3 people back. And well, it might be 4 because we don't know, because there has been reports today that Martinelli, Gyökeres, and it was like Jesus. No, I think it was Gyökeres, Madueke, and Jesus trained full training today. Jesus has actually been training full for the team for 2 weeks.
No,
But
I've left him grey because I can't
won't
see
be in the
him
squad.
coming into the matchday squad. I just can't see it.
Arteta did say that they will try and play him in some games behind closed doors in the next few weeks first, and then they'll do it. And it makes sense. Like, he hasn't played football in ages, but the fact he's been training for 2 weeks shows he is closer than I think some people may assume.
Yeah, 100%. Like, it all depends. Like, if we get, I think, like WOKLZ, I think if we could get him back, I know we've gone back and forth and we've said, you know, he's not like the perfect striker, and I quite like him for what he does. I think from corners, he's great. I think he will stretch. He's someone that will constantly run. I think it'd be great if we could have him back. Just give us a little bit of a different dimension. I can't see Odegaard coming straight back into North London derby. Like, I can't see him starting. Madueke's not going to.
I don't think any of them are going to start. I don't even think it's down to just fitness. I think you don't change a winning formula. Like, Trossard and Saka, even though we drew
to formula right now.
Well, we drew to Sunderland, but Trossard and Saka were our best players on the pitch by a mile. Like, I watched the game back this morning and I was like, they were doing everything. They were creating from deep. They were really doing it all. And I was like, you don't really change them. I think they've actually been fantastic. But Trossard has really come in his own, like we mentioned last week. So it's that interesting thing. Odegaard, if he's fit, though, and can at least even play 20 minutes in this game, that is massive. I think people have completely underrated the Odegaard factor in this entire season. Yes, he was poor last season.
He's been incredible in his cameos this year. And he's so good.
And the thing is, when you get these big games, you've got Bayern, you've got Chelsea, you've got this game against Tottenham, you do need leaders. And I know that we've got a lot of leaders on the pitch anyway. And I know Gabriel's not going to be fit, which is one loss. But even Odegaard just being in the squad is a big boost, I think, for everyone and him. And I don't know. I've just seen something different in Odegaard this year. I don't know if it's down to the new tactics of him being a bit more free roaming.
I think it's just down to the new haircut, mate.
I mean, that new haircut, it makes me take him much more seriously. and I don't know what it is, but out of all the players that are coming back, someone asked me who's you're most excited for, and I was like, barring Havertz, because I love Havertz, and I haven't seen him in so long, I'm so excited for Odegaard. I tweeted that today. I'm just so excited to see him back. I really do think that Odegaard will make a difference when we need to this season. I think we saw broadly in about a game and a half, him and Eze work really well together as Eze on the left. And that's something I would love to explore later on. This is my opinion, but it's by what I've heard and maybe what I've seen. I think Madueke and Martinelli will be on the bench, both of them, which I think is massive genuinely, because if Trossard and Saka are getting tired from playing every game, well, then we've got two of the players in our entire team that are just going to run with the ball. That's great. I love that. That's a great option to have later in the game. I think Odegaard will maybe be in the squad. I think Odegaard will kind of push himself to be in the team because he is the leader and the captain, and I think he'll put that responsibility on him a little bit. This WOKLZ thing is the one that is up in the air, because it was reported that 3 people were going to be fit, and it was kind of like leaked or maybe like known that it was probably going to be Madueke, Odegaard and Martinelli. I mean, Martinelli's been in the background of training photos for a week and a half now. Like it's not been that much of a secret.
Worst kept secret.
And he hasn't even mentioned Martinelli at all. So I'm like, well, I think Martinelli's fine. Okay. But WOKLZ is a weird one, because there was reports that he was going to be fit for the Bayern game, which is Wednesday, I would imagine, if we play on Sunday. But then there's now reports saying that he did train.
Yeah, it is Wednesday.
He did train yesterday or today, as we're recording this, and they're going to do another training session tomorrow to kind of see where he's at. So obviously, right now, I imagine in the Arsenal, you know, they're all going to bed or whatever they're doing, and they probably don't even know if WOKLZ is fit. Obviously, they'll have a bit of an idea more than we do, but I'm sure that's still up in the air right now. But if WOKLZ can get fit, I don't know, like, how fit is fit? Is fit to get on the bench? Is it WOKLZ?
It's fit to start. Yeah, it's hard, isn't it?
Yeah.
So this is another one where we thought, oh well, he'll be back soon, and suddenly it's like, well, when is he coming back? Like, I completely understand why it is up in limbo and why it's, you know, not reported to us. Like, why should we know? Like, at the end of the day. But it's so frustrating at the same time for a fan being like, just give us a little bit. Give us something. the good news is, like we said earlier, whatever team we put out, I'm going to be happy with. That's how confident I am in this squad now. Like, even if, say, Calafiori is injured and then Mars Skelly comes in, I'm happy with that. Like, I am happy with, even if he didn't do that and they put Hincapié out and then they put Mascara in there, like, cool. I wouldn't even care if, and this is not going to happen, but if Arteta just went and add one and went, you know what? I want to keep the same dynamics as I've already seen. So Hincapié is going to play next to Mascara, and then like Calafiori is going to play out there. Like, I couldn't care less, because we have got such a good squad of players now, and they're all individually fantastic. They all seem to now understand the dynamics of each other and how like the team should play as a unit. Like, it's incredible the work Arteta has done to get players like these kind of assimilated in the squad so quickly. Like, I'm so happy with the work we've done, you know, the work Bert has done, the work that Arteta has done. But I think, yeah, the most obvious one is this lineup. I do think Calafiori could be a key, because if Calafiori is out, it's that dynamic with Trossard, because the Miles and Martinelli dynamic has been fantastic, or the Calafiori with Trossard one has been really good. So maybe that makes a little bit of a difference. But even still,
I have a feeling if Calafiori is not fit, that he does just play Hincapié left back and Mascara and centre back. Like, I actually spoke about this in my preview today, and I spoke about Miles potentially being an option. And then when I was kind of talking about it, I was talking about how Tottenham's tactics work, and I was like, I just don't think this might be a game for him. I don't think him playing against a low to mid block is really where you want Miles anyway in them sort of games. We need teams to press us. I don't know how much Tottenham are going to press us. They probably will at certain points. So maybe if you think they're going to take risks, then let's play Miles. I know that will annoy so many people if he doesn't start in a lineup and just puts Mascara and Hincapié in. But it's probably what I would do given the situation. It just depends how Arteta sees the Tottenham game and sees and thinks what Tottenham are going to play. But I think Hincapié is the closest person. Not into Calafiori. This is the whole thing. I would have just played Calafiori centre-back and Hincapié left-back, like a lot of people are saying. But we just lose all that chaotic work by Calafiori. Now, Hincapié can still overlap with Trossard, and I think that dynamic is still calm, but it's just not going to give us any sort of that idea of that left side. Our left side's been fantastic recently, and it's already our left side dropped off in the Sunderland. It didn't drop off in the Sunderland game, but Gyökeres wasn't there, and Marino had to pin defenders into the box. So we actually had a lot of the time just a random player come over and be the third man. Like Eze did it, Zuba did it, Saka did it at points. And I think, like, with Calafiori's movement, that's so important. Like, I think Calafiori's a very important player for this game, so let's hope he's fair. I mean, I don't know how I feel about Marino. Like, we spoke about it loads. Like, he's just awful, but then he's amazing. And he's amazing, he's awful. Like, what? I don't know what to say.
Done him back, he'll assist, or
he's just so, like,
finish out of nowhere.
Even against Sunderland, he was okay. Like, I actually think he was okay in that game compared to some, but he gets an assist. Like, he gets a goal contribution in that game. Like, I think that, like, he won't win many headers over Van de Ven and Romero, to be honest. And I really will. I will get super frustrated with this team if we keep kicking the ball long and pinning a centre back. If we pin a midfielder, then broadly that's okay, broadly fine. But I hate when we keep playing it long with Raya and not winning the headers and then not winning the second balls and losing it. And it's like, guys, we could just build up and pass around the back. I don't think Tottenham are going to press us that, but well, like, guys, let's just do that. But the scary factor is Frank. Like, going into this season, I was worried about this Tottenham game more than anything, because I just felt like Frank always has our number, and not always has our number because away we're especially good, but at least at the Emirates, he's always been pretty good. And broadly, he's got a good record against the top six. But every top six game they have played this year has been dire, Bayern City. So it's like one of the things where, like, I don't think Tottenham are playing brilliant at the moment, so I think it's fine. But I don't know, Frank just does weird stuff, and he's just one of them managers, man. He just does weird stuff that I don't trust. And I don't know. He might do some weird stuff. And I just feel like Marino in this game is like, I feel like when Marino plays up front, generally, he is just a dummy. I think someone did a video about this, about how Arsenal use their strikers as like just players that just take players away, but they never have any intention of making that pass or ever try and pass it through to them. And with WOKLZ, they've actually had to do it a lot more. But with Marino, he just makes runs and we're like, yeah, cool, that's a defender out, bit of space. Like, I think that's going to be a bit like this. If Marino scores, I'll be very surprised in this game. But I just want to see some of the guys scoring in their first North London derby. I want to see some new faces scoring their first.
Give me an Eze goal.
I'll take
Eze winner.
A Winery, a Lewis Skelly would be nice, but anyone like I don't. How many players have even scored in the North London derby? Like Saka and
Gabriel. Trossard?
Gabriel. Yeah, Trossard scored last year. Our winner.
Yeah, he scored. Yeah.
I think is Rice not scored one? No, probably not. Can't even remember our games against Tottenham.
I remember now if Rice has. It's interesting, isn't it? Like I just looked up, so for Marino, so it says here, according to Opta, only Trossard and Martinelli with 9 goals apiece have outscored Marino among Arsenal players since the start of the 24-25 Premier League season with 8. Like it is mad. His like record now, so including last season, 8 goals, 0.36 goals per 90. Playing 1,995 minutes, 5 headers, 2 left foot, 1 right foot. It's a mad record he's got. But that's the thing, like against Romero and Van der Ven, like those 5 headers, it's going to be a little bit more difficult. But we've said it previously, to have a midfielder that can come in while you're missing Jesus, WOKLZ, and Havertz, like he is right at the top of the heap. He is brilliant. He's up there with Ballon d'Or McTominay. Really is. I don't know. Like I'm happy. I'm happy with this game. I'm not worried about anything. I think we will be fine.
The good thing about it is like it kind of gives me the same sort of idea of the Newcastle game, where if things aren't quite landing for us, if we are losing, if Madueke and Martinelli are back, or even WOKLZ is on the bench, or an Odegaard, if 3 of the 4 of them players are back on the bench,
imagine those 4 on the bench.
Yeah, we've got
that just changes, doesn't it?
Yeah, we can literally be like, oh, we're 1-0 down at half time. Well, that's it. Here they all come. Or even like later on in the game where you're like, we need a goal. Odegaard, Eze, we're gonna push you in. And something I saw in the Sunderland game is like we actually had a lot. Like the way that we beat their low block is because we just had everyone in the box. There was points where Timber was just a striker with Calafiori. They're both in there at some points. We had like 6 players in the box, and we would get the ball to Saka and be like, right, you're the deeper creator. Cross it in from 30 yards. And that was our whole idea. And it created loads of second ball shots, more importantly, where we probably should have scored from. And like, I really want to see if we do that again. I'm so intrigued because I don't think he will at the start. But that obviously that Sunderland game was means end. We were 1-0 down, and that's what the second half brought. So I don't know. It'd be interesting. But I mean, we should win, hopefully.
Mate, in terms of like attacking and pinning them in, do you think we kind of just go with almost like, hang on, let me set this up a minute, almost like a front 5 with possibly, it's interesting, isn't it? Like a 3 here and a 2 of Zubimendi and Tim. Like how do you think we end up kind of trying to break down Tottenham? Or do you think it depends with, if Hincapie's in there or... I mean, right now, hang on, I've got my scary out here. Where's Sleepy gone? Am I mad?
Sleepy's there already.
Ah, thank you.
Well, if Hincapie plays, he has to be here. And Trossard has to be inside, really. But I don't really like just these
Well, surely Calafiori comes...
But it's not like we don't play like a 5 like this anymore, really.
It's so interesting, isn't it? How like suddenly it...
Rice is not here. If Rice is here, we've lost the game.
True.
been through that so much. Like what we did a lot in the Sunderland game to create these spaces is you just create mini triangles and you suffocate teams in. So you make everyone come inside and just close everything down. And what we did a lot of the time is like Trossard would play like here, wider, but he'd come out of the block. So he'd be like within space here with 2 players in front of him. Calafiori would make some crazy run here into this area. And then we'd even get like a Marino to make it wouldn't really be Marino. This is more a WOKLZ sort of run that you would see WOKLZ make this run and these triangles to work. Marino doesn't do that. He just sits back post and pins the defender. But like we were getting people move. Like sometimes Rice does it and they do work together, but that's not always like it doesn't always work because we've got Zubimendi and Rice as this pivot where they kind of rotate. So sometimes we had Zubimendi make it. I mean, there's a few clips in the game in the second half where Timber is literally just here. Like Calafiori
mad, isn't it?
Calafiori's like here and Timber's here. And there's a shot we have as well where I don't know who it is. I think it's Zubimendi. He comes into this sort of pocket here. At this point, I think Calafiori's out wide, maybe like here. Trossard's here. And Saka just makes this run here. And we play it quickly into Zubimendi. Where's the ball? We play it quickly from Trossard into Zubimendi, into Saka here. And Saka's just here and they're not picking him up because he makes that late run.
Is that when he across goal goes
and
wide?
A lot of our chances that we created in this game against Sunderland were Trossard or Saka, and Trossard's done this lots. He did this in the Burnley game as well, where Calafiori just creates some sort of little opportunity where there's like a little gap like this, and someone makes a run. There's another chance where he puts the ball in like this to Zubimendi. Zubimendi's like here, runs in and cuts it across. And there's so many little things that work in this move to make it work. A lot of it, I think, is actually Eze, and this is my biggest praise for Eze so far, where I think against Sunderland, his movement in these positions was really good because WOKLZ is not in the pitch, so Marino's not really pushing the issue like we said. He kind of just stands there, which is fine. I think that's his role. But Eze, not only does he play alongside him a lot of the time, Eze keeps making these quick movements where he'll like show for the ball like here, and he'll do like the sort of Marino movement against Real Madrid where he drops deep just out the box. And it's really effective because it creates this move. It creates a little like movement here for the centre back, and then that's creating this space that we're exploiting, like through like Zubimendi running or Timber or Rice or Saka and whoever the extra man is. And that's happened a few times now where Eze has literally just been a dummy for that run, which we obviously know Marino's the dummy and WOKLZ was the dummy a lot. So it'd be quite interesting. I think like I in some of our like broader tactics in the game against like Sunderland, Zubimendi's like here, Marino's like here, Eze's here, and Saka's here, and they're like R4, and then everyone else is back here like this. At the time, I mean, Calafiori's wherever he wants to be. I guess he's up here.
Yeah,
but like,
doing what he wants.
we'd get the ball like here with Timber, and they'd all be like this, and Zubimendi would come short, Marino would go in behind, and it just created like look the gaps it creates and the amount of area it creates sometimes if players aren't too diligent and don't hold their line. And I just thought that was a really good, effective way we had like consistent shots. And also, like, we had a lot of our shots from this range. I think Eze has about 4 in this game, which he does nearly every game. And it's because Saka, yet again, just gets the ball here. You know, he's got 2 players on him. He's pulled them out wide. Probably not Sarr, probably Spence. And then he's able to cross the ball in from this situation. Everyone floods the box. Not like Zubimendi, Timber's in here. Like Timber's in the half space. Zubimendi's like here. You know, Marino, Rice is on the edge as well, about here. Calafiori's, I don't know, wherever he wants to be, like usual, like probably inside. And like what this did is like when we just flooded the box, we were just getting so many people in there that we weren't winning these headers or at all, but they were just kept bouncing out to Zubimendi or Eze. Zubimendi hits the bar. Eze has 4 shots in this location where he should do better, and he kind of snatched at it, goes into the keeper. And it's all because, like, we just use Marino as a dummy. Marino just sits back post, and we're like, yeah, Marino, mate, we're going to cross it to you. So they're all like, oh, we've got to go mark Marino. So they all go over there, and by the time they're over there, the ball's bounced to one of the other players they're not marking who have moved into the box. So, like, I think that's kind of how we're going to play against these teams that sit deeper. I keep saying Tottenham are going to sit deeper because I just think they will at points. Like, they won't the entire game. Like, Frank has been known for a guy that high presses and then sits in the block. That's been his whole MO forever. Yep. That's why he's an incredible manager. There will be points where they press, but I wonder if teams are going to stop pressing Arsenal because they do like really suffer when they press us a lot, unless you're a really good pressing team. Like Chelsea aren't the best pressing team in the world, but they have some really good presses where if Chelsea pressed us, I'd be like, yeah, makes sense. I could see why they would still take that risk. I don't know if Tottenham should take that. I don't really know how good some of Tottenham's attackers are at pressing. I don't watch their pressing patterns as much, so I probably should. But I don't know. I don't think they're going to take that risk. Just knowing what Frank's like a lot. Maybe at the start of the game, but I think that's it. So, yeah, that's kind of how I think things will pan out.
Mate, that's quality. So good. Such good analysis, mate. Like it is. Oh, we've got a celebrity here. Evening Yembele from the Latte Firm and Red Lines and House Spaces. Yem, don't forget to send the check in the post for your catchphrase that I might have had something to do with. Yeah, I think like Zubimendi is a really interesting one. You told us about, you know, the kind of the second ball, his ability to get into these positions and cut across. He's even done it for Spain in the international break. But that finish was like a forwards finish. It's so interesting that I saw Alex from the Different Knock and Cannon podcast talking about this, and he was saying that this Rice Zubimendi kind of pivot is like a partnership rather than a pivot itself, even in DW. And I think we've almost we haven't bought the Sociedad Zubi. We've bought kind of this like hybrid Spain, like a new Arsenal Zubimendi. Like he's showing right now why he's so good, like numbers wise, like stats wise. When he was at Sociedad, it looked like he was this kind of jack of all trades, master of none. You look at his numbers in the Premier League this season, it is insane. Like his passing numbers, his ability to progress the ball, it even is like, I'd be so surprised with his reading of the game and his ability to win the ball back. Like he's fantastic. He really is. And I did say at the beginning of the season, I have a feeling he might be our, you know, signing of the season or the Premier League signing of the season. But right now, I just love watching him. Love watching him. He's a complete footballer. He's unbelievable. Like he's just one of these players who can kind of, you know, like they slow the game down to their pace. They can just see everything. They see the entire picture of the pitch, and they can just make everything look so easy. Like I used to love watching players like Zidane, and he looked like he had years on the ball. Zubimendi's really similar to him in that respect, but he's got this, I don't know, this thing about him where he can just hurry up and hurry other players and cause them to make errors. He's a really interesting player. Like I can't wait to see what happens over time and these rotations with him, Rice, and Odegaard when Odegaard's back. Because when you start putting in and going back with, let's see if I can put it back to our original.
It's an absolute mess.
Oh no, it's not going to let me. Let me just hit undo a load of times. Is this going to let me do it? No, it's not. It really isn't, is it? I'm going to have to do it manually. Here we go. Oh, there we go. You've made an absolute mess here, mate. What's going
This is what my tactical boards look like after like 2 minutes usually. It's an absolute mess.
At some point, I'm going to have to invest in the JLA one. I gave him a tweet saying, James, when are we going to get a cooperative version of it? And he's told me at the moment that's not in the works. That's no good for us. No good for us.
I don't even. I keep forgetting to use it. I always forget to use my tactical boards in my videos because I just talk too much, and then I go, "Oh yeah, I could have just showed people."
I love it. I said to someone recently, they're like, "Oh, how long are your podcasts? 2 hours, 2.5 hours? Like how long?" Like yeah, we just start and that's it. We just keep talking. But it's this with Eze and Odegaard. I cannot wait to see the rotations with these three and him coming into it. Like, it's going to be even more interesting when you got a WOKLZ or even, I'm going to have to say it to appease you, aren't I?
Woo!
Havertz.
Yeah, Havertz. Yeah, he's mentioned. Let's go.
But I am interested in like how we start to rotate our midfield, and it's gonna be like because you add in like someone like Calafiori to the mix, then like it's chaos. Timber coming inside as well, like it is nuts. The the different patterns of play that you can start producing with those individuals it's just mental.
We're gonna be progressing the ball so easy. We'll pick the ball
Yeah.
up and they'll just be it'll be in the other side of the pitch, just like that. It's like that meme with like the ball just magically gets to the other side. It's gonna be like it's like exactly what you said. Like Zubimendi and Rice, like any game that these two play in, I'm confident because they're just that. I think like I expected Zubimendi to transform us, but I didn't quite think that he was going to become like I didn't quite think that our pivot or whatever. I didn't think it was going to be quite as fluid it was going to be, and
Yeah.
that has just made us so much more fun. And I do think there's a certain I think that Arteta's kind of taken these tactics a little bit from PSG. Yeah, with their midfield, of their fluid midfield, because Zubimendi is not even really a DM for the club. That we're basically playing 3-8s at this point. Well, Eze's kind of a 10, but he still comes deeper a lot of the time. And like we've seen some of the rotations of Eze playing deeper and Zubimendi pushing up, like we saw a few against Sunderland. I would like to see more of them, but I think that is more like obviously an Odegaard thing. And I can't wait to see that. I think that's going to be excellent. Zubimendi though, like I did a video like years and years and years ago. One of my only like I was only 4 months into YouTube, and I did a video about Zubimendi, and I named it like, why he's the new Sergio Busquets. And I got loads of comments being like, it's nothing like Busquets. But as soon as you compare any player to another player, everyone's going to be like, well, they're not like that. But it's like, that's not the point of what I was making. I was making the point that they're the same profile. He's like so different. Like this guy's running into the, like you said, the goal he scores for Spain, he's just running into the box and chipping it over the goalie. You know, he should have scored against Sunderland. He had like 4 chances. Some of them, like when he chests the ball down from the edge of the box, hits the bar. That's one of them ones where you'd be like, oh, well, you could maybe see Thomas Partey in that situation, maybe, like if given the situation. But he ran into the box in a chance and shot the ball across goal, and I was like, we okay? Like this is our DM, and like I was looking at that stuff, and I was like, it just keeps us so fresh. This midfield, you just don't know which one's gonna make that movement. They make it on both sides. He's passing as well. The fact it's not even like he's like this exceptional 50-yard passer, like a Granit Xhaka, like, oh, this guy can get you out of anything. He just is so aggressive with his passing. He just passes it all the time, picks it up, pass, like instantly. It's not, he doesn't have to think. Like he's not someone that seems to like be like, oh, let's see what
he seems to be like one step ahead.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean? Like, you know, like people play chess, and they've looked like, you know, 6, 7, 8 moves ahead. Like he seems to be like that, which just seems like I think that's why our progression's so good now, because he understands movement and space, and he's aware of the other team. So he kind of like looks at a press, and he recognizes the patterns, and he can kind of go, well, I know where they're moving. I know what they're thinking. That we're going to pass, we're out. And it's unbelievable. And he's got the leg, which I'm really surprised about. Like he doesn't like eat up ground like a Declan Rice, but he's got the legs to then get in the positions needed for the next receiving of the ball. Like it's really interesting. Like he's just such a clever player.
I mean, most of the defensive work that he does, I'm not particularly surprised about, because it was stuff that I kind of saw before and was like, this guy is actually going to cover a decent amount of ground because he is just like an intelligent player. But like, it's just about his intent, I think, is more the thing. Like he will end this season with like a 78% pass completion. He just will. He will have a low percentage because he just goes for passes all the time. But like, because he's so quick and he sees things early, he is so different to every other player that we have in that way. Rice can make passes quickly, but even then, Rice is someone that wants to have a few touches, then makes that fantastic pass. Odegaard's the same. Eze's the same. Trossard's the same. Saka can do both, but broadly, he takes a bit of time on the ball. They're all players that fantastic in their own way, of when they, you know, there doesn't look like there's any gaps and they still find them. Specifically Odegaard, like somehow from deeper areas, he finds passes when everyone's there. But Zubimendi has just been like, he's just that intent. He's brought that different stuff that we needed. He's allowed Rice to be more free, and Rice has actually played more defensively. I was so worried that we were going to play Zubimendi in a lone 6 and have Rice push up into this left centre mid spot into the box, but we haven't done that, and it saved the club. It saved the team, because if we did that again, it wouldn't have worked. It would have been awful. We said about a double pivot at the start of the season.
Mhm.
I don't even know what it is at this point because it is a double pivot. They play most of the game alongside each other, but a lot of times that one of them is gone, one of them's going in the other. And we all had the assumption it was just going to be Rice pushing up and not Zubimendi, but it's not. Zubimendi is
No.
against Sunderland. Zubimendi was way more attacking than Rice, way more getting into the box. But I'm so excited. I'm so excited for Zubimendi's first North London derby. I think he's going to be great. It's going to be such a good one.
Right, and so these are the stats. Obviously, small sample size, based on 937 minutes in the Premier League this season. But I mean, his passing attempt, 67.91 per 90. Pass completion is still, bearing in mind the types of passes that he quite often makes, like about 89%. Like he's so good. Like even the aerials one, I'd never think he'd be up near the 84th percentile, but he's just got like a tenacity in. I'm not like a mean street tenacity, but like he's just there. He has to be there at every single opportunity, and he reads the game so well. He's just such a complete player. Like he really is.
He is fantastic in the air. Yeah, his leap. It's the same with Timber. You can still be 5 foot something and have a great leap. It's giving me hope.
Cannavaro was the king of that. Tiny little dude.
They played the
time. He used to like sit on Nesta's shoulder, not like metaphorically, like he physically sat on his shoulder, like to get into the warm ups and stuff.
I thought before
Nesta used to put him down, and then Cannavaro used to be around.
2012, it was like if you're not 6'3", that's it. You're not playing centre back. Get out to the full back.
yeah, that's very true. Should we kind of like we've touched on? I mean, we've gone right the way through the Spurs game pretty much. Talking of personnel and the future. So I mentioned about Eze being along that of 3 of Odegaard, Declan Rice, and Zubimendi. Semenyo, 60+ million release clause apparently. I'm hearing like mixed things. So like, the ITKs, and it's funny because one of them is the one that said that we were going to get a load of deals done. Was like, yeah, WOKLZ is pretty much done. Another one of them said about Madueke, and I was like, really? And then it got done. So, like, I do kind of, I'm on the edge of caution with it. But they are saying that like there are big talks between him and the club, which is really nice. Like some other people have said that there's personal terms basically agreed at this point, which is I'm not too sure about that one. Like, is he the right move? Is Yildiz the right move? Is there someone else that's like a better move? And if he is the right move, like why is he the right move? Come on, mate.
So I have been doing a lot of work on Semenyo this week. I did a video on my second channel. I did some freelance work where I edited some opinions about Semenyo. I have seen quite a lot about Semenyo. And like the thing is, I don't think Arsenal are going to sign him for one, and I don't think Arsenal should sign him for two.
Ooh.
And I think I mean, maybe if the summer happens if it's cheaper, because then the release clause is like 50 mil, which is still not cheap, but yeah, it's cheaper. 65 mil, like I think I find this so conflicting because I literally have heard so many like decent opinions by people I respect on both sides of the argument. And I've always been such a big guy on Semenyo. I think he's excellent. I think he's a brilliant carrier. He's a brilliant dribbler. He's just physically strong. He can play in different ways. Off the ball, he's excellent. But one of the things with him being off the ball excellent is that isn't actually that big of a deal because he won't be sitting in a deeper block for a team that's in a higher level than Bournemouth. But I actually think someone like Semenyo would be very good in like as a player in a big 6 team, because I think he brings not only that off the ball intensity, but I think that he has that counter-attacking ability, which seems to be a big thing about the Prem now. I think he has like well enough the physicality to carry the ball far. I think even against low blocks he can create. We saw the goal against Fulham where he goes down the wing and does it. But I will say this season, his stats are awful, like dreadful. Like his stats are not good. people might be confused about that, going, well, he's got 6 goals and 3 assists. He's the second top goal contributions in the league behind Haaland. That is very true. That is very true. But his expected goals per game is at like a 0.3 or something, or 0.2, or I can't remember what it is. It's not good. It's not
I'll
what
bring
you.
it up.
It's not good. And his expected assists is down. He's having less shots than he's ever had before. Yeah, 0.3 non-penalty goals per 90 so far this year. You know, he's having 2.7 shots, which is less than he had before. And even then, that's counting the last year, by the way, not just like this season where I'm looking at it. And like everything is down. His expected assists is down. He's not creating as much. But the only thing that is a given is that he's scoring more than his expected goals. This season, he's outperformed his expected goals by quite a lot. And bearing in mind, he's scored a penalty, missed a penalty. Scored a free kick in there as well, which was very low XG. So there's a few things in there which make it not look great either. I also think I think that people's perception of money has been warped, and I think I am also maybe like I think also it has with me. I think I look at a 65 mil winger like Semenyo and go, yeah, Semenyo 65 mil Jan, that's a decent price. But then when you look at these stats, you go, well, he's getting a 0.3 non-penalty goals per 90. He was good last season for Bournemouth and the year before. Like, let's not get this wrong. He was good, but like he isn't world-class good. He was just fine. Like his per 90 stats are like 0.3 goals per 90, which is kind of kept up with forever. You know, 0.14 assists, 0.1 assists basically, which means he's getting around 0.4, let's say, non-penalty goals per 90. And that is a lot of money for someone that's getting that output. Like you would want in the elite level of football in the Premier League, and maybe the Prem's a little bit lower, but I would say elite players get around 0.6, 0.55, 0.6 is like elite level. This season, everyone's like idea about Gyökeres was to get a 0.4, and that would be good enough. But that is because Gyökeres isn't seen as this big talent. I know we spent 50 mil on him, but he is a striker in a market which is way less varied, I think, than the winger market in the future. I like Semenyo. I think as an Arsenal fan, I think he brings in soft factors what we need as the club, and I think it's great. And I do think he is a considerable upgrade on someone like Martinelli. He is older. He is. I keep seeing. By the way, this whole report about. I've seen so many reports about Semenyo. People saying he's 26. He's 26 in 2 months. That's not 26 now. That's not how it works. Because every time I keep seeing that, I keep thinking he's 27 in Jan, but he's not. He's 26 in Jan, which is way different. That does change a lot that whole year. But he is still on the older scale, not older scale, but like he's in that sort of area where he's going to probably get one big move, 5-year deal. That's it. And I do look at it and I go like, I think Liverpool will go all out to sign him in January because I think he has
got Liverpool written all over him, hasn't he?
He's really red hot at the moment. They are the best team that are interested. I'm sorry, but United and Spurs are going to get nowhere near him if Liverpool are there. He wants to win big trophies. That's just how it is. Unless Berta does a thing where he goes, we'll sign you in the summer, you stay at Bournemouth. I just don't find it very likely because I also think Arsenal as a team, as a club, might just prefer other targets. We've spoken about the fact that we have probably signed maybe a few too many of them, like 26, 27-year-olds already. You know, Gyökeres is here. We've got Havertz is now turning to that age. Odegaard's now turning to that age. We brought Eze in as well. Like, we've got a lot of these players at that age group. And if we get rid of Martinelli, let's say, for this winger, which has to happen, we can't keep Martinelli and Trossard and buy another winger and have Eze. That just isn't going to be a thing that works. Like, if you think about Martinelli's my age, so Martinelli's 24. If Martinelli leaves, I don't think the club will think, well, we'll replace him with someone who's 2 years older, because I don't think that makes much sense in terms of squad planning. So I actually think there's a few players at the club might just go, actually, we're going to put our bets in that one, even if they're more expensive. And I think like Yildiz is one of them. Do I think Yildiz would be the best fit for Arsenal? No, like he likes coming inside a lot. I do think broadly the left side for Arsenal, the left wing, Trossard and Martinelli have played way better this season, but we've spoken about it. It's because I think Zubimendi, Gyökeres, there's much more assertion of getting the ball down to that left side. There's much more willingness to allow Trossard to get the ball where he wants to create. So if we're actually getting them to improve, maybe you can just put anyone in that left wing and they play really well now. It doesn't, and if the quality's better, they play even better, like a Semenyo, like a Yildiz, which could happen. But there's going to be risks to these players. Like Semenyo's shot map is not great either. I don't care about shot maps personally. I know a lot of tactics guys really do like look at shot maps. I don't care. I think people have different roles in different teams. Eze's shot map has always been dreadful because he shoots from everywhere. Anyone who's watched him for like the last 3 games for Arsenal, he shoots from everywhere. Like he had 4 shots, I think, in the first game of the season against Chelsea, and I think the average of that shot was like 32 yards. He just shoots from anywhere. But that's his job for the team. His job for Arsenal right now is to shoot, realistically, because no one else does it.
I even talked about the shot creating actions from shots that I liked the idea of with WOKLZ. That's one of the reasons I was like, "Ooh, that'll be interesting in both of them," because he does that, and it's horses for courses. Really, it's that. You know, you're completely right with that. Yeah, the roles depends on the player, depends on the role, depends on the team. Like, would you go for a Yildiz? Like, he's 20.
The thing is,
his output's not as good. I do feel that Juve a lot of the time kind of play the ball out to him and like, go and do something. Like,
the thing, this is so tough. Like, because the problem is like Semenyo's output is good, like it is very good at a Prem level. But this season, like I said, like he is performing so far. He has performed over expected goals in 3 years in a row or something like that. Like expected goals and expected assists combined a lot. And I know like a lot of people really harp on that. Like some players are just good finishers. Like Son wasn't an anomaly because he just was that good of a finisher. Do I think Semenyo is that good of a finisher? No, not really. I just think he's a really power shooter. And that is the places it's interesting. But the thing is with Semenyo, he can play on both sides. He will work hard defensively. He does love the club. There is certain aspects to this guy where there's something that a few people have said. I'm not going to take credit for it fully, but some people have said that maybe having Semenyo at a big club, when they sit deeper in a 4-4-2 like mid block, breaking him as a striker would be a brilliant idea. And I think Semenyo Havertz up front or Semenyo WOKLZ striker partnership's sick. I think that's a real great way to use him. But like the thing is that the context around this whole situation is that £65 million. I think everyone's so numb to that amount of money because that is about the money that people have gone to. But £65 million is a lot of money. And in order to spend that amount of money on a player, you kind of want them to be the player that is perfect. Not necessarily in terms of like right now, he might not have the quality, but in terms of role at least. And this is kind of my argument about Rodrigo in the summer. I thought Rodrigo would be a great player for Arsenal, and I think for the price it made sense for what he was as a quality player. But he never is, he's not a player that fits how we play. He's a Martinelli type player. He wants to come inside. He wants to shoot a little bit like Yildiz, where I kind of see the same problems with. Yep. And it's like, do you want to pay £80 million, which would probably put us out the winger market for years to come? And it's a guy that doesn't fit. We have to change the system to fit him in. Like, this is the whole reason why WOKLZ made sense, because we had to change the system a little bit for him, but we paid such little money that they like compared to the striker market that they were just like, oh, we might as well because it's still easier than getting these younger guys in who are still going to have to get to that level. Like, and I don't know, like it's just one of them things where I think I would love Semenyo. I'd have no gripes if the club signed him, but I wouldn't be like, oh, it's the signing that gets Arsenal to the next level. I don't think. I see people on Twitter who are supposed to be tactics guys that go, Arsenal must sign Semenyo. He is the game changer. I'm like, I think he'll be good for us. I think he'll be a great player, but I think a year or half down the line, people would be like, we need a winger or we need a striker still. Yeah. We need this. Like, I just think when people get this ounce of it's never enough. Like, people are never really satisfied. You can't win every game. And I just don't know if Semenyo is going to do enough. And I don't think he is, but I think 65 mil is a lot of money. He can go to Liverpool. If Liverpool sign him, cool, good for them. Like, I think he'd be good for Liverpool. I still think there's some problems. Like, so if Semenyo signs, where's Wirtz playing? On the bench? Is that you just give it up? If Semenyo signs, where's Isak playing or Ekitike playing? Like, I don't really understand what's happening here. Like, you know, where's the defenders that he keeps crying about that he's not got? Like, he hasn't got
Yeah,
any.
that's so true. Like squad building is like a huge thing. I think sometimes we all think in like binary code, like, oh, player's good, get player. Like it's like there's so many things. I think going on from what Vegas is saying in terms of like he said about the thoughts on Rodrigo. Let's go through like we say top 5 wingers that we'd like to get, because I think we
I don't know if I can name 5.
like I think I can name 5. Like one of them's going to be a little bit wayward, but like I would say Rodrigo's up there. Yildiz, Semenyo, Rafael, and then Barcola, like if possible. Like I think they're probably the 5 that most people would agree. Like they're not completely out of the realms of possibility, but some are going to be harder than others, and some would work better than others. I'm trying to think of anyone else.
I'd probably take Gordon, but he would be too expensive. I still think Gordon's a good player.
Eat him. There's something about him that I just don't like. But
I just think the problem is like, if you look at Martinelli or Trossard compared to someone like, I don't know, Barcola. Well, I think Barcola is actually a bit of an anomaly in this situation, because I think he actually helps in quality and tactical wise. But the biggest issue I think with this whole thing is like, Trossard has actually been fantastic so far this last month.
Yeah, it's been great.
If a Semenyo came in right now, would he play at a higher level than Trossard's playing currently for the team in the setup that we're playing? And something that's been quite clear that a lot of people have been saying, that a lot of our left-hand side dynamics have been broken for years. And our sort of assumption has been like, well, Arsenal just need to sign a better left winger to make it work. But what we've seen this season is that we haven't signed a better left winger. We've just signed a striker and a midfielder that actually go down the left side a little bit more.
Calafiori's able to come inside and cause havoc.
And also like Trossard has become the main sort of deeper creator, as well as Saka, of course, but Saka can still get in the box. Like Trossard's not really doing that as much. Like we use Trossard in this role to be this deeper creator. Is there many wingers that I think in the world can really do that, like to that level? I think Nico Williams is probably one, but yet again, like he doesn't. He's just mid. He's mid, and he's going to stay at Bilbao forever. Like that's how it is. Like I just think it's so hard to necessarily find someone that you are going to have to pay, because we are one of the best teams in the world. It's so hard to find improvements throughout the squad, and I think that everyone wants to find players for that better and all that, and I completely get that. But if we are going to get rid of Martinelli and get one of these players in, I think there's some lots of issues with all of these players that are not concrete. Other than like even like a Barcola, where the quality is not consistent, he's not a consistent player. I would take an 80-90 mil Barcola because of the dynamics that he has, the raw attributes that he has, and you're like, yeah, fair. Someone like Rafinha, for instance, I don't care if that doesn't fit in our team. If Rafinha wants to play for Arsenal, we can get him for 70 mil, 60. I'd do that because I think he's that good of a player that you just take that risk. But I don't think that like a Semenyo is that level of like, yeah, we'll just screw the whole dynamics over because we're going to get you in the team. I don't think he's that. I don't think he is that level of player.
The other problem is that with Odegaard, if Odegaard gets fit, you've got Eze, and I'm not the person that's saying no, you can't go and get another one of these players because you are blocking a pathway. And what are you going to do? Like, I think you're getting as many like top class talents as you possibly can, but you do have to think, well, system based, like how does it work? Because if we are moving towards an Eze, which kind of makes sense with the way Trossard's playing now and the way that left hand side's working, seems like we're moving away from that Martinelli mold on the left hand side. But do you start going, well, do we need a player more like that, like a player that's more confident on the ball rather than, you know, running in behind, like someone that's more able to open up spaces with their passing rather than, you know, their dribbling, that type of thing? Like let's go through, like, say, prices rather than trying to rank them, because I think it's pretty difficult. Like, let's say how much maximum you would pay for each one. All right, let's go for a little game.
Yeah.
So let's start with Semenyo. Not January, but we'll say next summer, because I think we've spent a lot as well. Like I don't know, unless we did another Hincapié where we're like doing a loan and then signing them, and David Raya, to be fair, we did it with him as well. Like next summer, everything goes well, we win the title. Looks like we're moving on a left winger. We got to bring one in. The Semenyo, what is the top amount of money you're signing him for?
See, the problem is like
No, you gotta give me a you gotta give me a amount. No,
I have to give context.
No context.
It's WOKLZ. Of course, I give context. I have to. I would pay the highest I would pay for him is 50 mil, probably about there. Maybe you can give a bit more. But the issue is like we did spend 52 mil on Madueke, but then yet again, like that is because the wages were a lot cheaper. There was a cheaper deal. But Semenyo is just fundamentally a better player than Madueke. So
was he on 75-ish? I think.
Yeah, like the market, like a lot of people don't even get the market like in the industry because the Premier League market, because the Premier League are operating at such a different level to all the other leagues. It's just so weird. Not only is the winger market and the striker market just bonkers, the central midfield market might be mental. Because realistically, there's like 5 good midfield. There's like lots of good midfielders in the Prem now. Like I know Balaba's had a crap season, but Balaba, like Anderson, Wharton, you got Alex Scott, you got all these players that realistically top 6 clubs could sign. But surely if one of them goes for a certain price, that sets the price for others. But then if someone doesn't go in for one of them players and then they're stuck there and they try and force a bit, like what happens? Like I don't think all 4 of them are going to get a move because I don't think as many teams that can afford them. I don't think there's 4 teams that will buy them. I don't think there's that many people that need a central midfielder. We've got Rice, Chelsea,
for us, like I would love a Wharton. I think Wharton's, for me, he's like almost like the perfect one. Although for England, I think Anderson's probably the one that I played, which is really strange.
Anderson's so good.
It's all, regardless of that, just can't see us putting an outlay like that, which is why we've talked about players like Buwadi, because I think that makes more financial sense. And also in terms of like the growth of the squad, progression wise, it makes more sense because he slowly comes into the team. And then by the time you've got players aging out a little bit, then he comes in. Yeah, you are really right there. But I think I would pay a little bit more. I think 65. I look at Madueke and I think he is better than Madueke. He's also got the fact that he like dynamic wise, like he's different. Like he's such a powerful player, something that we don't really have. But yeah, so I think for me, I think about 65.
The thing is with the market, though, like a lot of people assume that the market's going to go slightly down in certain markets next year. I would assume that the striker market in some way goes down. I mean, unless there's still only like one good striker, then maybe not. But I think that like maybe market value actually does go down, and he is actually about 50 mil, which ends up like put like in context with the Madueke one. Madueke is like 40 mil, and then it's like makes a little bit more sense. It is tough for that. There is certain players where, like I said, that I'm fully willing to just bet on their talent and not even care about the tactics on the left-hand side, but not worry. And I think like one of the big things I was looking at left wings this summer was that people that I know are good against like deeper blocks and teams that are going to flood the box, because as much as we haven't played it too much this season, as like in like games like fully like Sunderland, because we have been very counter-attacky, very direct base. Like even a goal we scored against Burnley was on the counter-attack. Like we have been very direct this season. They always that thing with Arsenal is that teams aren't gonna in the Prem, teams aren't just gonna press us all the time. And we can't bait presses and have Miles run past everyone like he can in the Champions League, because they're just smart enough to know not to do that. So I always try and look for people that I know are good. This is where I was kind of a bit iffy with Barcola, because it's like them stats look great. He is a great carry and all that, but he hasn't really played against low blocks that much. That isn't something he is.
I wonder if Desiree Doué would be better suited to us in a way. I've never really thought about it. I don't think they let him go. I think he's the one that they look at as the kind of the crown jewel. The one to kind of stay.
Desiree Doué would have made sense if we didn't buy Eze. I think he's a good substitute for that. I think in terms of players that I probably would just risk it all, I think there is a couple that I would really consider if they were available. Like I said with Rafinha. Rafinha, I know he's not even like a big, great presser. I know he's not good at this stuff. Sharp shooter, credible shot. Like, in my opinion, he's just a bit of a better Rashford. He plays a little
I'll
bit
tell you, I
like
wanted
Rashford.
him.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't surprise me. He is, like, I can see it. I would very, very much consider Leao because I just don't know if the pressing in I'm watching these games this season for Arsenal. And I'm like, we're keeping so much of the ball. The pressing is not even a problem. We don't even need to press teams, and they just boot the ball long anyway at this point. So I really do wonder, like, if you could get a Leao in there. And Leao has been very
Physical
good,
specimen as well, he is.
but but
Like,
then, like, if you want a Leao like type of player, then you do just get Semenyo. They are very similar. But then Leao might be more available. Like, Leao's actually been very good this season. Like, he has
how
gone
much
back
for
to
Leao
form.
then? Go on, give me a number.
It would be around the same. It'd be around 50, 55. Like, I
Yep.
wouldn't pay more in anything. Now, like, if someone like Vinny Jr. is available, as much as I don't like him as a person, I think he's a bit of a weirdo. Vinny Jr. is a real concrete of being available in the next year or two with his contract situation being up in the air. Yes, he would cost so much that it'd probably break everything.
I just don't like the dynamics of like personality and stuff. And I know some people are going to go, but the quality's there and he's done it on the big stage and you want to win the biggest trophies and you sometimes need the biggest egos.
But sometimes that's about like the club you're at. Like Bellingham wasn't
that is true.
Bellingham wasn't this egotistical guy when he was at Birmingham. Like, he was a little bit at Dortmund.
I was going to say, he did kind of start rubbing people the wrong way at Dortmund there, didn't he?
But like, yeah, it was fair because he was their best player. He was carrying them at 19. I would have as well. And I think I also, by the way, people talking about people should not have egos is dumb. Like, these guys are like the best players in the world at a sport that millions and millions and millions try to play. They're gonna have a little bit of an ego. Like,
look at top level boxers, sprinters.
Look at anything. I mean, look at YouTubers as well. Like, so many people want to be YouTubers.
Really need to check. All right.
I mean, I did hit 70k today, guys. So right, you go. Yeah, I did.
Oh, mate, that's great. I didn't realize that. Oh, I feel really bad. I feel like the worst. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Let's do this.
Woo! Let's go, guys. I just think, like, with Vinny, man, everyone in La Liga plays low blocks. That's why every time I look at a winger and he's playing in La Liga, I'm like, well, unless he plays for Levante, like Etienne Young, they're going to be playing against low blocks all the time at the big clubs because that's just how it is. And he is a guy. Like, this is the thing with Rodrigo. Like, Rodrigo, I don't think the dynamics work perfectly, but it's one of the things where we just haven't seen him on the left that much, where I'm like, well, is he even good on the left anymore?
Which is crazy, isn't it?
Yeah,
it is crazy because really he is a left winger, but he never plays left wing ever.
Yeah, that's what Real Madrid do. But them two are so good at dribblers. Where I'm like, I don't care. There's opportunities where they can just run past the whole team in a small block because they're that good at dribblers. I worry a little bit more about like Rodrigo's like physicality compared to Vinny. I think Vinny's a little bit. I know he's a little of a crybaby and stuff, but he's a little bit better at selling stuff than Rodrigo. I think. I know, like, not overall, but. Yeah, like, I get the whole Vinny. Like, Vinny gets very angry, and you need to sort his temper out. Like, as much as like whatever his comments are online after the game is whatever, but in games he needs to sort his temper out like a lot. I think to get to that level, and also he would break our wage structure. And I don't know, like, it's the thing with Rodrigo. If I had to break my wage structure for many players in the world, Vinny would be one of them. Like, he just would be. He is. Like, that quality. Like, I don't think Rodrigo in my eyes is that level. He's close, but he doesn't play anything, and he doesn't even play now. In the summer we were talking about how, oh yeah, he played a lot of games last season right wing, but we could find a way. He's played none. No, like, say like 400 minutes this season. It's like in my opinion, your price has dropped 15 mil. You're not playing.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, I completely agree. I look at him as like max 70 now. I really do.
I
mean,
think even that, I'm like I think even that, genuinely,
55,
I'm thinking
60,
like,
that's what you'd be going through. Like, but pure max with like bonuses, 70.
And it also depends how many teams want him, because if Semenyo goes to Liverpool, if, like, I don't know, let's say a crazy ass world and Leao goes to another team, Like, what other teams need a winger, like a left winger? They all bought them in the summer. We're the only team that really
Yep.
didn't. Like, Luis Diaz went Bayern, like all these other players moved around. Like, I think that there will, at that point, there will be better options. The reason why his value was so high last market is because we spoke about it. The market sucked, and he was the only one available. And
Yep.
and it was like because we knew Semenyo had signed a deal, which, by the way, I said when he signed that deal, I said that he would have a release clause in that and he'd be gone in a year. And I literally called it. I didn't think it'd be 6 months. I was wrong there. Sorry, I didn't realize Bournemouth were a bit idiots. But I just think like I don't. Yeah, I
It's a lower release clause though for the summer, isn't it?
yeah, it's like it's around 50. That's why I was saying it's around like 53, I think 54.
Yeah.
I've heard. So like that is a perfectly acceptable price. If you want to get Semenyo in for that, and you say to him wait for 6 months, then I'm down. Like we can do that.
I think that's great business.
I do think the winger market is still a bit iffy. Like you could, if Arsenal needed to. Like the thing is, the problem with Arsenal, we're not just buying a left winger like Liverpool are. They could probably get anyone and be like, "Oh, he's okay." Like they had Chiesa for 10 mil and he's fine. Like he's actually been good off the bench. Like I think with Arsenal, because we have to sell a Martinelli or a Trossard, and I kind of think Trossard's going to stay till his contract ends now. I think not only is he loved by the club, I think that his form in the last month, I think that's kept him at the club for another 2 years. I just think like someone like Alamo Lookman's a great example. Yet again, cast out at the new Atalanta manager. They don't get on. He's barely played, but he clearly has quality. And if they were like, "Oh
he's an impact player,"
if you can have Lookman for 35 mil, I'd be like, I'd consider it for 35 mil. That's a great price for a player like that. And I could see Arsenal doing something like that. But then when you take into the fact you've got to sell a Martinelli, you're like, well, no. If we sell a Martinelli, we need to get someone in who's that like world-class level. Because Martinelli isn't a crap player. Like, he just doesn't really fit sometimes. But in the Champions League, Martinelli's a reaper. And it's like...
And coming on this season in the Premier League, he's been brilliant. Like, he's been absolutely fantastic.
Tottenham, come back. He's so typical mate. Martinelli, isn't it? It's
Bring
typical.
It on. Yes. Like, a bit of a random one. Like, would you go for like Marcus Rashford?
I like Marcus Rashford. I've always liked Marcus Rashford.
Is he on loan?
Yeah, right, there's a buy option of 30 mil, but I never thought Barca were going to do it because I was like, well, one, he's on 300k a week, and I don't think we'd pay that, or anyone would. And I was like, well, Barca won't do that. They're broke, but he's played so well for them. I think, by the way, Marcus Rashford right now is the best Marcus Rashford I've ever seen. When he scored 30 goals, he was largely overperforming XG, but he didn't do anything other than score goals, and a lot of them were just like whatever. Like, they played a counter-attacking football, he ran through. Yeah, fair enough. Like, and also he scored like 18 in the Premier League, he's got like 10 in the Europa League or whatever. Like, cool, whatever. But this season, he is just a complete player. His creative work for England and Barcelona has been fantastic. He is deservedly England's left wing starter right now. By none, he's been fantastic, and I'm really glad to see Rashford bounce back. So, I mean, he's a player I would probably consider, but he's on 370k a week. Like, he won't come down from that because of his contract, and we won't pay anywhere near that, and we shouldn't either. And it's like, that just prices him out of a move. I can really see Arsenal, though. I will say this is like kind of the last point of the whole transfer thing. I kind of see Arsenal signing players in January for once. I know I don't want to get burnt by it again, but I actually think we will. But I don't think we're gonna sign a left winger. I think we will make some of these more fun signings. I personally think Aguame will join the club. He didn't.
Do you? That's interesting.
I just think he's such an Arsenal player where he's like 20 mil, 25 mil value. His contract's running out. He hasn't signed a new deal with Seville. He didn't get a move. We basically said in the summer that we weren't going to bother after we got Norgard, and I thought, oh, that probably puts us out of a guard, mate. United were linked, Spurs were linked. He'll go there. Never actually materialized a move. So I was like, okay, that's weird. And usually when players don't materialize a move, like when they're like wanted, it's even because they don't want to move or they've been told not to. I'm not saying that we've done any of that, but I'm sure that Arsenal probably looked at him and probably have gone, he's up. Because I have this pipe dream that Arsenal signed Bouadi, but I just don't see it being. I just don't think the club are going to sign Bouadi. I don't know. It's just I'd love to be wrong, but I just don't see it. I still think he's going to cost a lot. Like, if you try and buy him on Football Manager, yeah, good luck. He's like 200 mil. But I think Agame, for the price of like 20 mil, as a guy that can come in January and also rotate with Norgard, they might do that instead. I could see them doing that. It's even him or Nathaniel Brand and left back. and wherever you want to move Miles, in my opinion. But I would love to see us sign some of these youngsters. Like, I know we haven't really got the room for them at the moment, but I don't care. Like, Harriman and Noose has been playing minutes, and I've been impressed. I want to see some more youngsters play. You know, let's get some of the Greek guys in there. Let's get Karatas, who we were linked to a few years, like last January. Let's get Musakatis from Olympiakos. Let's just get all these
Yeah.
Greek guys in. I don't know. I want to see some
Do you
fun
think
transfers.
do you think his price has dropped since we were linked to him? Because it was quite like a fair amount. Do you think it's dropped now, or?
Maybe. I don't really know. Probably not. It's probably around the same, to be honest. I wouldn't expect it to go up more because he's older, but he's only like 18, I guess. So maybe.
Yeah.
It's just one of them things with these youngsters, you just don't know. But I'm sure if you went into the Belgian Genk, it is. If you went to Genk and was like, oh, give you 20 mil and you get a loan back, like, I'm sure they would consider. It's so funny with certain players that we talk about, like, that are like really good youngsters and they don't materialize. There's a Man City youngster who, not Napan, because Napan's at Middlesbrough, which is funny because Rob Edwards just straight up ditched him, so now they ain't got a manager. Man City loaned a player. Echevier, that's it. Echevier's the player that they got in. Not loaned it, they got him permanently. And they loaned him to Genoa, but apparently he doesn't like it at Genoa and wants to go back to River Plate home. And then he's having this whole argument now with Man City about if he's going to send back or not, and then maybe they're going to give up on it completely. And I was like, this guy's one of the best youngsters in South America. He's still only like 19. He just, he doesn't like the pathway that he's been given by Man City, and it's stuff like that happens sometimes. And, you could always like get in there a little bit. And I think it's funny because we talk about like Vitor Reis last January being a big centre back I wanted. What's he doing now? Getting sent off for Genoa. He's not even good for Genoa this season. We talk about like Napan. Napan has been really good for Middlesbrough. But he's not a starter, but Middlesbrough are one of the best teams in the Championship. But it's all these people that I'm like, they could do something, but you've got to take risks, and Arsenal don't take risks enough in that 10 to 20 mil range, I think. So I think that's why Agame for me is like, he's like a low risk 20 mil sign, and he's 23. They're gonna just do that. He's literally, they're just
makes sense as well.
He's a proper six as well. We don't really have any sixes. He'd be the only one really if we can't do.
Yeah, especially with Norgard kind of moving on, because I presume he's not. He's not.
And Norgard's not even really a six either. He's more of an 8. Like, he never really was a 6 at Brentford. Like, it's kind of funny. Like, maybe we just don't. I mean, maybe 6s are going out of fashion. I think midfielders have to do everything nowadays, to be fair. So
it's funny, isn't it? It's cyclical, because people like talk about Vieira and they're like, "Oh yeah, he was a DM." No, not.
Have you seen some of his runs?
And then exactly. You're like, not really. Player like, I think like Ryan over in he's in Brazil. Who's he play for? Is it Palmas? I can't remember if it's Palmas or not. I'll have to have a little look. But let me have a little look a minute.
We should get
do you know what? It's Vasco da Gama.
Oh,
no,
yeah, Vasco da Gama.
Let me bring him up. I wonder if I can share this. So he is, I know he's getting out of contract, because I was looking at players. We're going out of contract soon. So he's getting out of contract next summer. He's been linked with Bayern Munich, Barcelona, but can play all across the front line. Like, quick player. Like, it's players like this that I go, go on then. You're going to be out of contract. Get him in, and then.
But won't he have to have? He'll have to have an ESC allocation.
Yeah,
spot.
Especially now. Oh, that's such a pain, isn't it? Now?
It is a pain. It's even more of a pain when the club sign a player from Brazil. He's awful, and he sits in the reserves for 2 years, but you still have to give him an ESC spot. Like, he's not even here. Like, why is Mateus Franco at Crystal Palace? Sorry, I was just a bit of a
No, I'm with you though. It's crazy. It's like. There's got to be something done about this. There's got to be some kind of.
They're also like finicky with that even more. But yeah, like I still think I don't know who would have a non-ESC spot in our team, because Jesus has been in England for surely a long enough time at this point. Gabriel's been in. Maybe Gabriel, but I think he's been in Europe for long enough. Martinelli's half Italian, so he's fine. Hincapie's been in Europe for years. Like, I don't know if any of them would. Maybe Hincapie's got one. I'm not really sure. I don't know. We already know about this information, but it's a thing. You only get 4. Like, it's a big thing.
That's interesting. Yeah, I haven't really thought about that.
I'd love Arsenal just to go out and get some of the best youngsters in the world and just be like, right, that's it. We are this good. Get him. Nathan Decat from Angela, just get him. I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't care. Like, he's a DM. We can spend 30 mil on risk him. He is incredible. Super young. If he doesn't work out, doesn't work out. But at least we tried, and we don't try enough with these fun youngsters, do we? I want to get some.
Do you think that's part of the reason? I've forgotten what his name's eluding me now. The guy from Napoli that we seem to be recruiting in for recruitment.
Oh yeah.
Do you think that's part of the reason? Like, I know we touched on it last time, but to kind of look at that type of market, bring in some players that because I mean, Napoli don't really have a choice. It's not like they can go out very often and spend Osman money. But do you think that's part of the reason, looking at that different side of the market? Because it seems that in terms of squad building, we have built a squad so well. In terms of the amount of money we've spent, I know it is a lot, and people go, "That's 1 billion, blah 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 blah." I mean, most big clubs spend that. You know, you put us up next to like the Cities, the Chelseas, the Uniteds. Everyone spends money, but we have got a lot of players that have their values gone up when we've paid good money for them. You know, no one's really gone down. But I think that those players, in terms of like your Lukongas, your Fabio Vieiras, the ones we've taken a punt on, haven't really come off. So I do wonder if that's like part of the reason that we're looking at him going, right, your expertise are this valuation, this kind of market. And we'll probably have a little bit of a premium because we're a Premier League team. But I think that will be interesting to see if we start going for them. And it makes sense because we've just talked about, you know, getting an Semenyo. Do you break the bank for him or not? Do you start doing that? And I don't think we really have to now, unless there's a player that really, really you can't lose out on, or a player that completely fits your team. I think we're in a situation where if this season goes the way we hope it will, the next summer you just start, that's the, you know, the inevitable decision to be made. But,
I mean, it's so true, because I think that's a point that like a lot of Arsenal fans won't really like. I think if Semenyo goes to Liverpool in January, a lot of people will be like, "Oh, Arteta out, or Berta out. We didn't get this player." But like, we signed 8 players in the summer. My whole thing was I wanted a winger like in the summer, but then the winger market, it developed into being quite awful, and we signed 8 players. Yes, maybe Trossard and Martinelli aren't the quality that we would want, but if every single player in other positions is absolutely great or fine, like, why is a left winger, one player doesn't stop you? These guys aren't awful. Trossard and Martinelli aren't bums. Like, that.
And look at Liverpool summer. Liverpool summer is a prime example of everyone going, "Oh, they've spent all this money. They're getting in an Isak. They're getting," and then you go, "Well, have they progressed?" Like, well, maybe it's probably best that you don't do that in that case. Like, I've got faith in the club now. Like, I do. I do have faith in the club, and they've earned that. That we kind of go, well, if they get players of a certain price or a certain profile, if we miss out on certain players, I think there's probably a reason for it. Like, WOKLZ isn't the perfect one, but alongside Hincapié, Mosquera, Madueke, you know, all these other players, you go, all right, fair enough. I think it's probably a good decision.
You make a £65 million signing when you are desperate. You don't make one just for like you don't make one for the cherry on the top to, oh, we'll get rid of Martinelli and get Semenyo in. Like, this is one of them signings where like it's like it actually makes sense for Arsenal not. If Arsenal say to Semenyo, we know you love the club, promise us we will wait and we will get you in the summer.
Essentially.
Yeah, if we say to you we will get you in the summer, then that in my eyes makes sense. But us buying him in January, one, financially, we've spoken about it with like the UEFA thing, makes no sense. We're like on the cusp of it. We need to sell players. And in sense, like, I think we're going to buy players in January, but I don't think they're going to be expensive players. We'll probably take some punts on some kids. We'll probably, I think, get us someone like a Guame in if we get to that point, and maybe there's an injury to Zumendi, or maybe Norgard's not up to the level they want. So they're like, we'll bring him in now so we can get acclimatized for 6 months. There's rumours about Etta Young where we will get him and then we'll just loan him back to Levante for 6 months, and then, you know, we'll see him in the summer. There's
That'd
stuff
be
like
an interesting
that.
one. There's another one that would be great. Like, cool. Like,
And
I'm happy with that.
there is a lot of decent players with no contract in the summer, which would be
Mhm.
so interesting. There's one that I really think that we should consider. I genuinely think I don't think that he'll come to us, but I think Quinton Timber, he's a free agent in the summer.
I was looking at him, yeah, when I went for the free
he has to be
agents.
considered. He's actually very, very good. He's like a box-to-box midfielder. He's so progressive. I don't know
And his
Timber.
build as well. He's like,
Yeah,
do you know what I
exactly
mean?
like
He's
his
like,
exactly
he'd
like his
fit in the
brother.
Premier League. Yeah. It's that, yeah, I
The
like
thing
that.
is with Timber, it's like he's never played at the same club as his brother. They've always been
Have
at.
they not?
Well, I think
Is there a
maybe.
Feyenoord?
Yeah,
There's no Feyenoord in Ajax.
yeah, he's at
Yeah.
Feyenoord and Urium's at Ajax, and they've kind of had this like competitive rivalry. It's very well known that they kind of like being against each other sort of thing.
Yeah.
And also, Quinton Timber wouldn't start for Arsenal. He would be like almost like a Marino role player, but he's not playing up front. But he'll be
Yeah,
that in
because he can play in
midfield.
the DM centre mid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think he's a good cover for Rice, for instance. He's a little bit like Mars as well. So it's like in terms of profile, so like where do you like does that even
That's
work?
interesting though. So say if you get like Norgard leaves, he comes in.
Yeah. But I
I'd
think
be happy with that.
I
Like,
think Quinton Timber starts for some big teams. Like I think United could do with him a little bit, and next to like an Anderson, and like they'd be way better.
he's an
I think
intelligent footballer as well.
Tottenham,
Like
I think
he
could go to Tottenham.
understands roles and systems. Like he's one of that. Yeah, like
All Dutch
and
players
look at
do.
United. United just they need that. Just do this job in our midfield, please.
They just need someone that can pass the ball for fucking.
Yeah, that would help, wouldn't it?
But like, I think, yeah, I think that. I mean, I don't think Timber will come to us because, like I said, I just think that he would start for us and he'll be like, well, I've been injured for the last year because he has been injured for a long time. That he'll just be like, right, listen, I need to go somewhere else. I could easily see him starting for Tottenham, could see him being competitive in Liverpool's midfield, but don't think he'd start. I think, like, there's a lot of teams like City, I think he could play a decent amount of minutes for in the Prem. So there's teams that, like, I mean, there's teams like Barca and Real Madrid as well that will want him. His wages must be huge because this is the smart thing. If you're a player at that sort of level where you're like, you could be quite handy for some big teams, just run your contract down. You know, Jonathan David is an okay striker that I've kind of criticised quite a lot over my time, but he was smart and he just never went to the West Hams and the Brentfords that he was getting linked to. Waited away till his contract ran out, and now he's at Juve, and I know Juve aren't the best, but like it's a better team than he was going to be at before. So, and he's got a lot of money, so I respect it. I don't know. I think there's some work that Arsenal could do in January, but I think it's more like fun young signings than game changing, like ceiling raising players, and I just don't think we're going to be in their markets, which is absolutely fine. We don't need to be. Like, we have the squad. I think I'm fine with it at the moment.
Mate, isn't it nice that we're not like sat here talking about signings going, we have to get this, like we have to, like over the years we've gone, oh god, like Saliba cannot go down injured. Like if Gabriel went previously, it'd be like, oh, you know, Kivior, like he's all right, but it's not perfect. And when Havertz went down, it was catastrophe. Right now we've got Havertz, Jesus, and Gyökeres going down, and it's like
Jesus coming back is going to be so weird. Like, it's just so weird to think he's been training with the team. I don't know, like, how to think about Jesus. Like, when will he actually get on a bench? Like, I can't imagine.
We said this on the pod, didn't we? We were like, is he going to play for the club again? I think he will.
Well, he will now. I at the time with the squad, it made sense, but just for these
and it looked like he wasn't going to come back till like January, didn't it?
Yeah,
and we were talking about it from that perspective.
The consistent injury problems of some of these players have like just made it have to happen. Like Havertz has pretty much been injured the entire of this year in 2025, which like has just forced this to happen. He literally wasn't injured at all for years. And then because we overplayed him, well, I mean, with him, I feel like we did overplay him and run him into a ground, which is our own fault.
I do remember him like sitting on the floor a lot at the end of games.
For years, for like 8 months. He just I remember we played the Wolves game and he was knackered. He was so dead after it. And then we were like, well, he's gonna have to play another night. He's got no other strikers, and I was just like, this is stupid. This is just not gonna get him injured. And yeah, I'm worried a little bit because he's had 3 injuries.
Things like that even last year, where you just go, just put a youngster on. If we're winning right there, just take some minutes out of his legs. Like,
That's why
please.
that's a great example why sometimes it is better to buy 3 players of like 30 mil quality instead of one 90 mil quality player. Like, this is the whole Arsenal versus Liverpool summer thing. Like, Liverpool were like, well, we're not going to find a striker better than Isak or Ekitike in years. We'll just spend all the money to get him now. But then they, if Isak gets injured, he's not there, then that's it. You've got the team. You've got less of a team than last year, and it's like we just had to get depth in, and we got a lot of depth in, and like. I think more teams need to do that. I understand it's so hard to buy as a Premier League side, just generally. It's hard for Arsenal. It's probably harder for some of the smaller clubs in the league because like you just get priced out of moves. Like, oh, I want this 21-year-old DM from Stuttgart. He looks good. Oh yeah, 30 mil. It's like, well, that's like half our budget. It's like
Yeah.
like for one player. Like I think, yeah, I don't know. It's one of them things where it must be so hard to buy. So I do have sympathy with teams that don't make a lot of these signings. I don't have sympathy with some teams. If West Ham sign another 31-year-old for like 30 mil, then they deserve for it to fail. Volkrug, do they deserve to fail? They did deserve that, and like because they consistently just have the same problems. But there's that, like, yeah, I don't know. Like, not every club is going to find your Tomiyasus for 15 mil, your Mascaras for 14 mil. It's just super hard. Like, and the only reason why we got Mascaras is because his contract ended, like, in a year. And, like, that's just one of them things. But, I mean, there is more and more players running down their contracts at least. So that's good.
So, to finish up, prediction for the North London derby, mate. What are we going for in terms of... give me a scorer. Is there going to be a scorer? We're going for a goalless draw. And give me a prediction for the score, mate.
Okay, 2-1. I was going to go 2-0, but I just don't. I think we need to get that Chelsea record out of our heads and start conceding more because people got way too sidetracked with that. That's not happening, guys. Let's just move on. So we'll concede another one here to make it like closer, so no one cares. So that's 2-1. I don't know who's going to score. I don't even know who's going to play. Saka. Wow, that's the easiest answer everyone's ever said in their life.
Thanks for that, mate.
I mean, Trossard's probably the easiest answer right now. He's the Trossard will get an assist for someone.
And Trossard in these kind of games, like I've got faith in him in these kind of games, and Saka, to be fair.
It's because he's a passion merchant a little bit.
That's true. I'm gonna go with a good old Arsenal 1-0. I just think it's going to be... I worry if we... Yeah, with Marina up top. Like, and that sounds really harsh, because I don't think he's doing a terrible job. He's better than Havertz, as I say. But...
That's not true.
I've got a bit in every week.
Havertz absolutely cooked Tottenham. Anyone remember that? Remember that a few years ago? Cooked him.
Nah, never happened. Yeah, no, I worry about our fluidity. And with the international break, I do worry how that kind of puts us in terms of rhythm. But I think we get the job done. I think it's a 1-0. And I think...
Corner.
I actually think it'll be an open play goal.
Wow. That is special.
Do you know what? I'm going to go with an open play Zubimendi goal. 1-0.
I was thinking Zubimendi.
I just have a feeling like... do you remember when Lucas Torreira?
Yeah.
He scored, and you know that kind of like, oh, I didn't expect you to score. Like, I think it's going to be someone like that.
Yeah, he scored like twice for Arsenal, and that was the first.
Yeah, I think
one of the fullbacks,
then...
one of the fullbacks gets a goal contribution. One of them, whoever plays there. I think so. That's probably not that's not like that crazy. Like they do run, but it's a little crazy. Goal
at one point, didn't Calafiori? They might still. Calafiori and Timber had the most shots on our team.
That definitely doesn't surprise me. Calafiori, the guy loves it. Eze's top, definitely. That guy, like 4 shots a game at least.
Yeah, that's true.
He can't stop. I don't know. This game's gonna be interesting. I don't think it's gonna be the most fun thing in the world, let's be honest. I don't particularly think their teams are going to come out and play very, very fun. But that's the thing. Arsenal can force this game to be chaotic. We've seen it over the last game. Newcastle, Sunderland, when they need to, when games are physical like this, they will just, they can just put people in the box and create a mess. I really think Timber always plays well against Tottenham. I mean, Timber plays well all the time, but Timber plays well against Tottenham specifically. Like my second highest view videos, him talking about him playing against Tottenham. So I'd like another Timber masterclass, but that would be nice. I don't know. I want someone cool to score. Imagine like Hincapié just gets his first goal, and it's just like from.
Mate, that would be quality.
That would be so weird, but I'd love it. And also, I actually
It
think
would be so Arsenal, wouldn't it, to have a corner. Declan Rice puts a corner in, and instead of Gabriel, it's Hincapié. Whoever is they're replacing Gabriel scores a header, and that's it.
we're still a threat from set pieces a lot in this game. Like Tottenham's corners they're like okay. They did concede last game from a corner, I think, but everyone always talks about Gabriel like he's some sort of like he is insane. He's the best probably header at, like in the defensive in as a centre back in the world. But like he scored one Premier League goal this season. It wasn't like he was scoring every game. Like people seem to think it was. Oh, you've lost your best attacker out. He scored 1 in 11. Wow, he's gone. I can't. Like
to be fair, he's got some assists, hasn't he? He has got some assists.
He's got like 2. Like wow. I don't know. Like people are like, oh, most of his assists are from corners as well. To be fair, like he is a big threat from corners, but. I mean, we beat United last season 2-0 from 2 corners when Gabriel won in the team. So
yeah, we did actually.
Timber's going to score from a corner. I already said it. There you go. That's your goal contribution.
Little back post.
More just like right in the middle. He's going to head it. He's going to
bounce off his shin.
Nah, good air. Timber's so good in the air. This guy
actually is. Yeah,
guy's elite. Yeah.
And we were saying earlier about little guys heading. Oh, there we go. He's written in the stars. Where can people find you, Reese WOKLZ?
WOKLZ football, not WL. So many people spell my name WOLKZ. I think it autocorrects that for some reason. It's not that. It's WOK.
Loads of people say to me as well, "Who's this Wolks guy?" I'm like, Wolks? Do you mean WOKLZ?
Wolks is a fair. Wolks is a fair thing, to be fair, because I remember when I first started, everyone was like, "Oh, it's spelt like Wolks," and I was like, "Yeah, but it's like Zuckles, like WOKLZ." But I was like, "Oh, if people say Wolks, that's fair, because it does spell like that." But I've done some, some career mending to make sure people know it's WOKLZ. But yeah,
we've got the FOKLZ podcast. It's the FOKLZ with WOKLZ.
Yeah, it'd be weird if we said it the other way. I don't think it works.
Yeah, exactly. What would it be? Hang on.
Wait, what?
Walker? the Walker.
I don't know. It doesn't make sense. Like
it was the FOKLZ because it sounds like something else that I'm not gonna. I am. You know what I'm doing this week? Actually, before we finish up, I'm not going to say my tags because they are down there and everyone's on the channel. So like and subscribe. But I will be on the instant reaction for the Bayern Munich game on the Canon podcast this Wednesday. And I'm also in charge of all the editing this week. So if things go wrong on the Canon podcast, you know why. But I might just put some little FOKLZ things and little football things in, just hidden in the background. I think they'd be disappointed if I didn't. So I'll see what I can get in. I'll say, let's get a word. Any words? Chat. Give me a word that I need to get into the instant reaction.
He's a real streamer.
This week. What can we get in?
Put the W's in the chat.
Put the W's in the chat.
Do people get that round here, or is that too Gen Z? Sorry,
mate. Do you know what? We had some emojis for you last week.
Oh, that is like the most millennial. We got some emojis.
we did. Now, come on, let's get a word. What word can I get in?
What's like a normal word but weird? You know what I mean? Like, what's a word that you have in a conversation, but then?
I thought you were gonna. I thought of like papaya. That's the first word that came into my head.
Ooh.
A word.
I do say some funky words sometimes. Not a lot of them I can say on YouTube.
Not one of those. Guys, put in the comments after a word to go in the Canon podcast, and we'll see if I can get in. That'll be interesting. I'm going to be stressed as well. I'm hoping it's not George, because if it's with George, I love George. That sounds really bad. But every single time we're on together, last one was Sunderland. Before that, Oh, which one was it? I can't remember now. I've had some dire games. So hopefully
I
it's
don't
with
think
Alex or
Bayern's going to
Rohan,
be
so-
dire, to be fair. At least it's like the two of the best European teams in the world going against each
Yeah,
other.
but I mean, I'm a bit worried about the result. That's my main concern here.
Nah, we'll be fine.
If you're right. He did say to me, I guarantee we will win. You go on. I know it's MJ. MJ says, yeah, if you're on, guarantee we'll win. It's fine. I don't think you can do this. No. You got the instant reaction, we will win. So it's
That
MJ's
easy.
fault. Yeah, exactly. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. We will be back next Friday, 8:30, before our next game, which will be, is that the Chelsea game?
Yep, Chelsea, because Cole Palmer's fractured his toe in his living room. I don't know what he was doing. Was he watching the WOKLZ football video? Was he watching I'm a Celeb? Who knows? But he fractured his toe and he's out for another 3 weeks. So
I think he was impersonating. He was doing his best Foden put on a plate pass. That's what I've heard.
It was reminded me of when Walcott, did he hurt himself when he walked his dog? And it was out for weeks. I talk about that with my dad all the time. It's so funny.
So stupid. I always remember, I think it was Dunga for Brazil. Brazilian captain goes in goal and warm up and then does his shoulder or breaks his arm or something.
That's
I
so
think
weird that you said that, because this Dunga guy is actually in front of me right now. Because I was just looking at wingers earlier, because I was like, who actually plays as a winger? And then I don't know if it's weird, but he's just on this list. And I was like, oh.
What?
Yeah.
Like a regen.
I was looking at DMs. Oh yeah. I typed in best DMs in the world because I wanted to see what people were thinking. And Dunga's on here.
No, wait, weird. That is weird. Right, guys, we will catch you next time. Cheers now.
I don't know if I'm supposed to say something.
Yeah, you're going to say something. Right, let's try it again.
Bye, guys. See you next week. Have a good time.
I love this pod. Cheers, guys.